Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to SimPlay Motorsport here for the ACC Series, Pro and Pro-Am on your Wednesday and Thursday night. I'm your host, Mathew Duffin, bringing you all the action by the man that you cannot see tonight, Mr. Beef Wellington himself. Wellington, great to have you in the commentary box for the first time. Should be a cracking night's worth of racing. Bit of weather around as well here at the mounting of Bathurst Mount Panorama.
Yeah, I have some pretty big shoes to fill in that of Langley, but I'm gonna try my best. Gonna also see if I could do the entire season
Oh, we
commentating
love
with you.
that.
But yeah, uh, 90 minutes around Bathurst. Only thing that I can say for the drivers is stay out of the walls and keep a cool head, which a cool head should be pretty easy with how much rain there is going to be tonight.
At the minute, it's a green surface, light cloud around, so we'll see what the drivers are in store for as we head into the qualifying and the race session. But like we say, it should be an interesting one. And with the 90-minute race here tonight, Wellington, it's going to be hard to call you that all season. I'm not going to lie. It was difficult last night on LMU. With that 90-minute race, though, not only is it a challenge 90 minutes around this circuit, but that weather's just going to play another factor.
And not only the weather in the 90-minute race, but now we have two pit stops instead of just the one that we had last season. So the drivers are going to have to figure out when and how to pit and just kind of how to make that all work together again with the weather and the 90-minute race.
It's going to be an interesting one for sure this afternoon and this season. We're in for a fantastic night. The grid looks absolutely stacked. We currently have 31 drivers in the on the track tonight. I believe we should be expecting somewhere around 32 drivers tonight for this ACC event here on the console. But what a race this will be. And one thing we are doing with 5 minutes left of practice, we are going to be taking a moment of remembrance for our dear friend Rob Smith, who, as we said last week on the media day, daughter sadly passed away earlier this year. Rob had to take some time away from racing and from other commitments upon the league to obviously be with his family and his partner. In obviously mourning the loss of his daughter. So with 5 minutes to go, Rob and his teammate will be hitting to the circuit to do a formation lap of honour and remembrance for his daughter. We will also have this tomorrow night on the Pro Series, in which that will be led by Tom Cardno and Sam Williams due to the loss of Tom's friend as well. But we felt that that was just another way we could honour the people who put so much into SimPlay Motorsport. I'm already seeing in the virtual grandstand the likes of Gary Clarble. Tank, great to see you in there, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Paul Williams, season 11, here we go. Looking forward to tonight and the season. Watching from the pit wall is not the same as being on the track. I can imagine that one. Flinth is in there as well. No skeleton pork today, he says. And Phil Atherton, I'm actually sitting in the multiplayer lobby screen at the moment. Okay, Phil, well, you've got 8 minutes to get in the session as we will head over to the live screen now. And the action in which Wellington is going to be interesting to keep our eyes on what will happen and develop here tonight, because we know how tricky Bathurst can be at the best of times. 32 cars on the grid is not going to be easy.
Not at all. It's pretty difficult when you just have 10 cars and hoping the train in front of you, nobody smacks a wall. But to have 3 times the amount, it's going to be really, really difficult. But I think, again, as long as the drivers are careful with the dirty air and lift off when they think so and can just at least keep it out of the walls or, just rub off a little bit of the number panel, they should be okay to not have any extra time in the pit stop and hopefully save their race.
Indeed so. The drivers on the grid for this season. Sturrock returns in his Mercedes Benz and Flinth. That's fine if you've got the PC. We also run the championship on Le Mans Ultimate on a Tuesday night, to get yourself involved in that one. Michael Sturrock, though, is back in his Mercedes Benz. Gary Clarble makes a return in his Porsche. Diego Flores is in the Lexus for this championship. An interesting car choice for him. Gabino back in the Lamborghini. Sam Greaves is going to take on the Mercedes Benz with the likes of Richard Bettison returning in his Lexus. Cherry Moore is back in the Ford Mustang this time around, though. What a car that looks to be for Cherry Moore. Popovic is back in the BMW M4. Simcoe returns in the Ferrari. Stapley running the Bentley. What a car choice that is to see there. We've then got Jamie Lee back in his McLaren. Malarex is in the BMW as well this season. An interesting choice for him. Rob Smith, as we know, is in the Nissan. White is running in the Nissan. FRL Racing Team, Mick Taylor running in the McLaren. Privet back in the McLaren, as well as Steve Millington. Mirko Ricci in the Lamborghini with Kruppeljan in the Ferrari. Dog, new driver to the grid, is running the BMW. Sanchez as well, also a new driver in that Mercedes-Benz. Brian Craig returns, same lineup, same team. Team Merlot's Lamborghini. Michael Johnson going from the Porsche to the Lexus. Alcapara is in the Mercedes-Benz with Coates, who's just done a lap time, so we'll go and see him in a minute. Stardog is in the Mustang. Doosan as well is in the Ferrari. Privet, as we just said, in the McLaren. Gluak in the Ferrari. Tucker, Lamborghini. Cummins, McLaren. Phil Atherton, Ferrari as well. So a good grid out there at the moment, currently being led by Michael Sturrock. We are getting to that 5-minute mark in which we will go on the helicopter camera and on board with the Nissan of Rob Smith, who is lining up at the end of the pit lane, I believe, with his KSR teammate, if he is racing today. I haven't seen his teammate racing. In fact, there they are lining up at the bottom in the McLarens there. And hopefully everybody will take to a double formation here as we remember Rob Smith's daughter. And I'll just read out the little message that Rob had sent me a few weeks ago. So Kira got leukemia just before her 17th birthday. She had 2 years of treatment and went into remission just after her 19th birthday. She enjoyed a wonderful 8 months of being well, getting piercings, tattoos, and enjoying spending time with her friends. Unfortunately, she fell ill again in March and treatment was unsuccessful. She died peacefully 2 weeks before her 20th birthday. She will be forever loved and missed by Mum and Dad. Will forever race with purple on my car or on Rob's car to memorialise her. Rob also wished a massive thank you to everyone at SimPlay, fans, staff and drivers alike, for the massive support and kind words. KSR is also the initials. The KS is the initials of his daughter, called Kira Smith. They are obviously standing for the racing. The black livery is the black armband that you see footballers or rugby players, cricketers wear around their arms as a show of respect for the passing of somebody. So the black on the livery of the KSR driver of Rob Smith and his teammate, Steve Coates, are there as a sign of remembrance, with the blue and purple being Kira's favourite colour. May Kira rest in peace, and from everybody here from the SimPlay Motorsport family, we'd like to send our biggest condolences and all our love and support to Rob Smith and his partner and all of the family during what has surely been a difficult time for everybody over these last couple of months. Rob races back today and is back in the stewards room once again for this season, to get that ring rust off and hopefully get back to his best. And he's obviously going to be racing with Kira in his thoughts and in his mind. And may Rob have a great season from all of us here as well. We wish Rob and Steve, the KSR team, the best of luck in today's race. I think it's only fitting that we will just have a moment of silence while Rob comes down the back stretch of the circuit here to remember his daughter and loved one. And that then, to end the practice session, or to get final laps in for certain drivers, to end the practice session was our lap in honour of Rob Smith's daughter. And Rob, we hope that if you're watching or listening with you and the family, we hope we have done you proud there, and will continue to do you proud tomorrow night as well. Let's move things on, Beef. Kind of lost for words at the moment. Emotions have got the better of me there. Brand new season. A lot of new faces on this grid, but a lot of returning faces. We know the likes of Williams and Gary Leach have made that step up into the Pro Series. On paper, if you take out the new drivers, who we don't really know what their pace is at this moment in time, if you take that out, who are you looking at for this Silver Championship? We'll move on to Bronze in a moment, but Silver, who are you looking at for this season?
I could definitely see Wolski, because the past couple of seasons he's constantly been up there, probably in the top 5, I would say, in the championship. So definitely Wolski. Peterson is back in the Lexus, and in the previous session before the server crash, he had the top time by a couple of tenths. So he's definitely on my list. And I wouldn't count out Johnson at all, because it seems that his adaptability is probably some of the best that I've seen in a while.
Steve Millington as well, I think, is another shout. He had a good season, seemed to tail off a little bit towards the end of the season, but is a great shout to be out there. Well, this man was meant to be on a qualifying ban tonight, carried over from last season that he didn't, that he got the points for at the end of the season. So Simcoe is to qualify, and as of yet, no LMU tickets to talk about, but there's possibly the first ticket to mention in this Bronze Championship. If we look at Bronze, who are you looking at in Bronze as potentially a champion here?
Bronze, I feel like that is such a wide door, because last season we thought it was going to be Cherry Moore, and it ended up being, can't remember off the top of my head, Peckman, yes. So I could definitely see Malarex, Cherry Moore's teammate. This is their second season together, so I could definitely see that. And according to the schedule, the BMW isn't a half bad car around the majority of these tracks. I could also see Lee if he were to keep a calm and cool head. Maybe Stapley as well.
I'm also going to give a shout out to Brian Craig. And this is after the drivers we know. Brian Craig Mark Tucker started to show some good pace at the back end of last season. It'll be interesting to see what Tucker could do. Obviously, we've got a lot of new faces on the grid, so we'll see what the drivers can do. DJ Phil returns as well. Just seeing in the chat that Herendich says that Popovich doesn't say he drives for the Spinners team. Apologies, Herendich. We'll get that one sorted for next week. Mike has one job and has... Not done it, Mike, if you're watching. And NP Gaming G Balkan, let's go the ACC Maniacs, he says in this one. I'm really looking forward to this one tonight. Who are you tipping for the bronze pole position, though? Because the bronze drivers are out there to qualify at the moment. Who are you tipping for bronze?
Simcoe, I would say. Stapley also looks somewhat quick in the practice session. Let's see. Again, Malarex and maybe Tucker. I could see either one of those couple going quick time here in bronze.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Your brother's saying in the chat we need some of that Outlaws. Where did he say? Wellington, we need some outlaw level commentary here. So good evening to Richard Betson as well in the chat.
I know exactly what he means by that, but Ramsey, unfortunately, I'm not the main commentator, so I can't do any of the special things that I've prepared.
Who?
Huh?
Ramsey?
Oh, well, gotta be somewhat professional, man.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, hey, if you see a moment and I'm being quiet, you absolutely go for it, Beef. Honestly, there's no problem with that one in this one at the moment. Right, so who is the first man to qualify? Is that of Simcoe? Sorry, Beef, go on.
Well, the outlaw stuff is more of a... there's a tradition that they do at the start. Again, I can't do it. I was going to send it to you, but unfortunately I was at work.
It's not boogity, is it?
No, it's even better than that.
I've got my own trademark, green and go. Thank you. I'll stick with that one.
Yeah, I know, I know.
It's going to be a cracking season, obviously. Hopefully, Beef can join us throughout the entirety of the year because I've got a feeling, like he says, big shoes to fill in terms of Langley, and I'm sure Langley will be tuning in at some point to see if his shoes are being filled well. As we see that Vasic in the chat, go Spinners, best wishes from the Medic team, hiding behind the walls. There is yet no sign of any rain at the minute, Wellington, and really, I thought we was going to be in for a downpour today because from what I've heard in testing last night and today, it's been wet all the time.
Well, don't count out this 20-minute practice session because being a driver, yeah, maybe dry here, but as soon as we get to the race, it'll be absolutely pouring.
Oh, let's hope it is. A good changeable condition weather race could be an absolute beautiful thing to keep our eyes on in this race, especially like you said earlier, with the two mandatory pit stop that drivers have got to complete. Either way, we're on board with Simcoe, not meant to be qualifying in this session. He's just come up through Quarry's Bend as he comes up towards the cutting now. He has done the first flying lap and is currently 1.5 off of Kruppeljan's pace. Cummins has also qualified in the wrong time slot. Up through then Reed Park he now goes. Double right-hander here. Very tricky corner to get right as you have to flick it to the left just slightly before you come towards the Sulman Park. Over the top towards the highest part of the track you go as you're about to come through McPhillamy Park as well. Over Skyline now as you come down in towards the Dipper. And it looks like Simcoe is gaining onto the back of DJ Phil. Through the Dipper you go. Twists and turns, dropping away. The track is every little inch from you as you come down towards the elbow with the Bentley sponsorship all around. I think he just clipped the wall a little bit there, did Simcoe. Through the elbow he goes and down now on towards the Conrod Straight. He comes for his second flying lap of the session. Gary Clauble has also qualified in this session at the moment. And that one will be taken to the stewards, I'm sure, and will be investigated by them in this session. Here we go then, towards that of the chase. The little left-right chicane you have to go through. To the left, flick it to the right. Phil Atherton just there, but he's on a valid lap, so Phil doesn't need to get out the way here. He is on a valid lap at this moment in time. And Simcoe nearly caught out there in towards then Murray's corner at the very end of the lap. And does Simcoe improve as he avoids DJ Phil? He does, just about at the end.
Malarek's coming to the end of his first lap. Let's see where he goes. Shoots up all the way up to 7th, 2.8 from Dawson.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on Tucker that we're on board with at the moment and see what Tucker can do as he comes towards the line. Currently in P5 at the moment, stays P5 for now. The big improver there was Jamie Lee moving up into P3. The 63 will be the next car to the line. That is Chris Privet who goes into P9. The 181 of Clauble we won't view at the moment. The 27 of Alcapara then. Can the Mercedes-Benz, 5.7 currently off the pace at the moment. Can he find some more time here? And let's see what happens here. Good evening to Zach in the chat as well, who says, oh, wow, well, he's commentating. Go on, my boy, he says, as Alcapara there stays in P13. Brought a lot of love into the chat with you tonight.
Yeah, kind of just spread it everywhere. Hopefully, some of them could join for the LMU season and LMP2. Wouldn't mind. Just saying. What
a plug that is. Some might say you're better than Langley already. Number 56 of Simcoe.
Just need the admin role.
Number 56 of Simcoe, who is supposed to be serving a qualifying ban and is currently out there qualifying at this moment. Doosan is currently on pole from Kruppeljan. Jamie Lee, then it's Coates, Simcoe, Tucker, Stapley, Clauble and Cummins are supposed to be in the pits due to the Silvers being able to qualify at that 10-minute mark. They can line up at the end of the pit lane, but cannot qualify until the 10-minute mark. If you're wondering why all the silver drivers are still in the pit lane. Here comes Simcoe then, towards the end of his lap. He needs to just find just under a 10th here to go back up into P4. Doesn't find it this time around. What can Coates get out of this one is going to be the big question. Needs to find some 0.6 of a second if he's going to move up to the front row of the grid, and does improve, but not enough at the moment. Rob Smith's Nissan has got more scratches on it than a scratch card from your local shop. And is he going to improve on his time? Goes into P12, so not too bad there. The 45 of the Bentley of Stapley comes across the line and goes P7. The 23 of Mark Tucker will be next. What can Mark Tucker do in this session? Currently down in P6, improves to go P5. Here comes Sanchez towards the line. We'll try and pick up the 199 of Duffin in just a few moments' time. But so far, a pretty quiet qualifying. A lot more bronze than last year, Wellington. So that's going to really sort of mean that the bronze qualifying is a lot more important with a lot more traffic out there.
Oh yeah, the only bronze I have not set a lap is White down in 21st. He's heading up the hill with only 30-some seconds left, so I hope that he's on a lap already and not on an out lap, because if not, he'll be starting way down the field.
Just a reminder that the bronze drivers can finish the lap they're on, provided it is... can finish the lap they're on up until that 10-minute mark. The silvers will be starting to make their way out of the pit lane in the next 9 seconds. So the first driver to finish qualifying here will be that of Simco. Matt Wright, good evening to you in the chat. Oh my, I'm only 0.6 seconds ahead of bronze pace. Safe to say Matt Wright is not enjoying the Porsche at this moment in time. We wish him the best luck tomorrow night and hope he goes well. But yeah, I'm sure he'll be able to find some pace from somewhere. Here comes Simco then, and is going to try and improve on his P7 at this moment in time. Into the final corner. Bit of a lock-up it seemed there, and missed the apex by quite the margin as round he comes now. Does he improve? No, stays P7, and that will be his qualifying done. The number 82 of B-Dog is down in 15th place. Can he find anything in this last run for him? White is behind him, so hopefully the number 13 can get a lap time on the board. Here comes B-Dog to the line. Stays P15. White stays P13, so not able to get a better lap time in there. Where is Coates? He's in the pits. Lee's in the pits. Kruppeljan's just finished. We'll go on board then with Duffin, who is coming down the hill at the moment, and we'll see if he's able to pick up any more spots. Looks a little slow into Forest Elbow there. I think he might have just backed out of that one. And indeed, it looks like he has. Let's go to the 107. That is the lead car in the silver category to start their next flying laps. And that is at Wolski at the moment. He's got to stand a really good chance this year. We know Sam Williams, no Gary Leach. Wolski's really got to be looking at this as a championship he could possibly take.
Most definitely, but it's only the first race of the season. I personally wouldn't think about a championship, because then if you don't reach that, you're going to be extremely gutted. So as long as he could just think of hitting his marks and being as consistent as season 10 champion Benny Varga, or season 9 Benny Varga, then he could potentially stand a really, really good chance. But again, as long as he just doesn't focus on the championship and just takes it week by week, he definitely could stand a really, really good chance.
When it comes to the line now, we'll see where he goes. In fact, he didn't actually set a lap time there. Here comes Mirko Ricci running a slightly different shade of colour on his car. He also hasn't done a lap time there. That's probably because they have probably just started their first flying laps. Although I say that, and then the silver driver has... Oh no, or have we lost a driver? I'm not too sure. They think we've... No, I'm not sure what's happened there. Either way, we'll go back to Wolski, who's possibly just started his first flying lap. Stayed in the Greasy Bandits racing team this year. Obviously, we've got Greasy Bandits Racing and Team GBR, part of the same stable, but they, Wolski and Stardog, have kept the Greasy Bandits Racing name for this year, and we'll be hoping to bring gold back to Greasy Bandits. It's been a while since, in fact, I say it's been a while. Class won the gold championship with Greasy Bandits last year. But it's been a while since Greasy Bandits have managed to win a team's championship in this one, so they'll be looking to hopefully try and get themselves back on that top step of the constructors' order tonight or this season. Same with 4Q, if you think about it as well. 4Q Motorsport, Sam Greaves and Mike Hunt. Obviously, Hunt is away in Mexico. SimPlay Racing have won the last two Constructors' Championships. Greasy Bandits and 4Q are going to be right there trying to take it from them.
Oh, most definitely. But, again, hopefully SimPlay can do that trifecta. And, well, 4Q is gonna definitely give them a really, really good run for their money, as well as the Greasy Bandits squad. So, yeah, it's gonna be a fun one to watch the entire season of who is where and where everybody finishes.
And watch out for the ACC Maniacs as well. They could be a couple of teams to keep our eyes on, as we have just lost 1 or 2 drivers, I do believe. But Wolski now is coming towards the end of his lap. We'll hopefully be able to get a lap time on the board this time around, as we are back up now to the 32 drivers. Matt Wright saying, I think Duffin might be going straight in for a class review, and Hibbs, you and me both, Matt Wright, in terms of the pace there, as Wolski does come across the line and only goes into second place at the moment, just behind Duffin. So not able to set the timing screen alight just yet. Let's try and find the 186, as I believe it's Steve Millington who is having a few connection problems. No, it's not, because he's actually gone into 13th place. I'm not sure who's having the connection problem. Bettison's up into 5th. Clauble, obviously, as we know, is running in 3rd, qualifying in the wrong session. Popovic is running P9. Gabino is now up into 10th. That is Stardock coming across the line in his Mustang, who is yet to set a lap time. And we have just lost a couple of drivers here. We're down to 30. You've got to love the AC servers at the moment. They are just not playing ball once again.
Sturrock now goes to the top of silver, 2/10 out from Dawson's time. Sam Greaves up to 4th, 9/10 out.
Yeah, indeed. So Sturrock 2/10 off the back of Duffin at the moment. We'll see what he's able to do. The number 3 is about to come and set a lap time, as we are still down to the 30 drivers. And the number 3 of Michael Johnson, Brian Craig, that's correct. We are waiting on to see what he can do. The 663 of Michael Johnson will be the next one after him to set a lap time. And then we look back to that of Wolski, who will love to improve his time here. It never seems to do that well and pull up any trees massively in qualifying. It always seems to be when he's in the race that he goes under the radar a little bit and manages to come up with the goods and always takes a podium. If he can get that qualifying sorted, you'd imagine he'll be right there for race wins.
Oh, most definitely, but I feel like he's just a hidden figure in qualifying, and then when it comes to the race, it's a whole nother person. It's almost like he puts a whole nother person in the car, and that does the race for him.
Indeed it is. Here comes Steve Millington round the final corner. Sorry, Beef. He's up to 16th place as Richard Bettison shoots up into P4, back in the Lexus, and look at how his fortunes have changed already.
Yeah, finally out of that Aston Martin torture, as I'm now out of BMW torture. So yeah, seems that as long as you stay with a car that you know, your fortunes might change.
Diego Flores driving the Lexus. Can the Lexus bring him some good fortune in this race as well? That's going to be the interesting one to keep our eyes on as the night goes by. Here comes Diego Flores, goes up into P15, the 985 of Gluak. Says he's on an invalid lap. We'll see him come towards the line in a moment. He's obviously took the step down from Pro, the only driver to go from Pro into Pro-Am. He's got a lot to prove this season now.
Oh, most definitely. Sometimes when you get down rank like that, kind of, I wouldn't say it changes your ego, but it definitely changes your emotions. It feels like you really have to prove yourself even more than what you did on the hot stint. So he's going to be looking for a really, really good season to prove why he belongs in Pro.
Looks like Brian Craig is on an invalid lap, so we'll see. Good evening to a strange face in the chat. Disco McDisco face. Been a while, buddy. Would have joined you earlier, but I burnt the out of myself in Crete. Hope you gents are having a great evening. Well, I hope you're having a good time in Crete, bar the fact you are sunburnt, and I hope you're enjoying that one. As well as, I think we need to... Oh, Michael Johnson's in the wall there. I think we need to give a special shout-out, don't we, here, Wellington, as well? I believe that you got your parents to subscribe to the channel the other day so they could tune in to listen to you on commentary. Boy. So a good evening to the Jimenez family, and hope you're listening on. We know that Ramsey, or Gordon as we call him, is in the chat, and good evening to Mr. and Mrs. Jimenez. No, giggling. Wolski
What a
stays
guy
second.
you are.
Ah, brilliant.
Pro commentator.
Top guy, me. Wolski goes within a tenth and a half off the back of Sturrock. Sturrock currently the man on provisional pole, which I think may have shocked a couple of people here.
Yeah, here and there. Since he's been in the Mercedes, he's definitely looked very, very consistent, and he's been up there, at least in the top 10 when it comes to some of the races. But hopefully his fortunes have changed from the past couple of seasons where he's been up there, but just whether it be fuel miscalculations or other things like that have kind of kept him out.
Indeed, Jimenez Clan says Flint finally off of work and now I can watch him play motorsport. Says Ramsey. MTE Nick Mind in the chat. Good race to all. Nick Dewson. Best of luck to yourself, buddy, out there. Ramsey says Zach Butchard, and Zach says Ramsey with a dinosaur emoji at the end of it. Qualifying 36 seconds left to go. Sam Greaves quietly gone about 6th place. I don't think we've mentioned him in this qualifying session. So already out the gate, looks like he's got a good grip on this Mercedes-Benz, and he's going to get one more flying lap in here at Wellington.
Yeah, the Mercedes, and I would say most of the front engine cars are extremely good around here. Just the way that the track is made makes the front engines just hook up a little bit better. Although going over the top of the hill, it definitely seems like the mid engines, where they could turn just a little bit better than the front engines, have just a small advantage, as we can see by Gluhack in the Ferrari and Dawson in the Ferrari.
Well, here comes Wolski to finish his lap in qualifying. He just misses out on pole position from Sturrock as he goes 2nd place. Popovic now coming in towards the chase. Can Popovic here try and take pole position away? He's going to be a big ask if he can do it. But if anybody can, Popovic can. He took a couple of poles last season, especially at the 90 Minutes of Indianapolis last season. Can he take pole position? No, 7/10 from it in this one. Stardog next to the line on a valid lap. Can Keenan Stardog be able to get it closer to the front row? He can. Puts it into 4th. And a good lap there from him. Car number 18 of Diego Flores down the order. Some 1.9 off the pace. It's a very jumbled up grid here in the silver and bronze category tonight. I'm liking this at the moment. The mountain really proving difficult for some drivers.
Well, I mean, that's no surprise. It is one of the tightest, like a better version of Monaco, I would say. Very, very tight, very, very narrow. And just, can you keep it out of the walls? I'm on board with Sam Greaves. His lap so far has looked pretty good. Going down the hill, looked like he was a little ginger. But coming up to the final corner right now.
Not sure if Sam's actually on an invalidated lap here. He was light blue on my timing tower, and he wasn't. And he goes up to P2, just again narrowly missing out of the pole position by 18 thousandths of a second. It's an all Mercedes front row, unless Brian Craig has anything he can do about it at the moment. But so far, the Mercedes-Benz and the front-engine cars are 1, 2, 3. Where does Brian Craig finish? P12 for him. But Sturrock takes the first pole position of the season here in the Pro-Am category, giving Mercedes-Benz its 103rd pole position of all. And I tell you what, that is a great start to the season for what Sturrock would have exactly wanted in this one.
Most definitely, and it just proves that these front-engine cars are no slouch when it comes to this mountain at all.
Right, well, the rain at the moment seems to have stayed away for the time being. So let's keep our eyes on if that will be the case come the end of this 90-minute race. But Wellington, give me a bronze and give me a gold race winner here.
See, bronze, I feel like it could be Dawson, or it could also be Cripple John. We'll see. Really, just who could keep it out the wall. Then for silver, I feel like it could be either Sturrock, Greaves, or Wolski. But if I have to give you one, I'm going to put my money on Sam Greaves.
Yeah, I'm going to look the way of Wolski. I think it'll be hard to beat Wolski in this one. The thing is like you've said, this is like the Monaco of tracks. Not quite as narrow as Alton Park. Overtaking's a little easier here. But 90 minutes, with that weather lingering around where it could do anything at any time, it is going to be an interesting one to see what will happen in this race. M. Sturrock Antonelli says Flint in the chat. Come on, Sam, says Stephen Beck. Good luck for all the drivers. Must win the race at now. You must not win the race at turn one. It is not the be all and end all. Turn one, that one. Is an absolutely solid time around Bathurst. My respects, sir, says Disco McDisco's face. Good evening to Craig Stothard as well. And let's see what will happen in this one. You're joined here by myself and Wellington Jimenez for this race. And we're underway, Wellington, with the start of the...
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what strategies these drivers use. Of course, I have mine, and then I also have a yellow strategy for if something happens. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting on seeing who pits first, just to get that first stop out of the way, and then potentially turning it into the 90 minutes that we had last season. Or are you going to split the race into thirds and pit 20 minutes in?
Now, here's the interesting thing for this season. There is two of the mandatory pit stops. Now, at any given time, you can choose to do them pit stops when you want. There is no required pit stop. You just have to do the two. The 25 seconds mandatory fuel has now gone. So you can put as much or as little fuel in as you possibly want. So that is the changes in Pro-Am this season that have been made. And that could make for just a little bit of interesting strategy to see who will do what and what will pan out. I think one of the interesting things in here to note is that this is one of the shortest pit lanes on the calendar. So pitting in is not necessarily a bad thing early. You lose 19 seconds for a drive-through. 1 litre of fuel, you lose 27 seconds. If you do the 25 second standing time without taking tyres, you lose 49 seconds. If you take the tyres, you can lose up to 54. One of the shortest pit lanes, on the calendar. That's going to play into people's hands as well, isn't it, Wellington? Just to see the different types of strategy and who's kind of practiced what.
Oh yeah, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a couple of pro drivers who are going to look at this race to experiment with their strategies for tomorrow night. As I'm lucky to be commentating this, but I'm probably going to do the same thing and maybe tomorrow night reevaluate my strategy before we go green and just see if I can get maybe 1 or 2 more positions, because we know how big 1 or 2 positions plays in terms of
Kieran Argent in the
10
chat
rounds
saying narrow as Alton, lucky I'm not there then, and there's rain around Argent. Zach saying keep your heads on tight, put your game faces on and have fun above all. Are the console players on controller or wheel and pedals? Some are controller, some are wheel and pedals. I believe the majority are on wheel and pedals as well. Pay my late respects to Smith's daughter, says Disco, and best of luck to all the lads tonight. Have an absolute great race to all of you. Thank you all for the kind words. And thank you all for the support recently, because we've nearly hit 30 subscribers within 2 days. It's been absolutely incredible. The scenes of last night on Le Mans Ultimate and here tonight. The drivers are just coming down towards the chase, so we'll go back to the live cameras in just a few moments' time to pick up on that live action as we go through. It's going to be an interesting one tonight. Duffin looks like he's got the pace. So does Kruppeljan maybe over the rest of the bronze category. But if you look at that grid, Sturrock, Greaves, Wolski from Duffin, Stardog, Betson, Gluak, Kruppeljan, Popovic, Klarbel, Ritchie, Craig, Gabino, Cherry Moore, Jamie Lee, Coates, Flores, Tucker, Simcoe, Millington, Stapley, Malarex, Privet, Cummins, Sanchez, Smith, Taylor, Alcapara, Dog, Atherton, White, Johnson. It is anybody's game as they now approach into the final corner, and we'll bring you the live cameras right now. This is really going to be anybody's race here in this one, and it's going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on who can do what. So let's see what will happen as they come towards the line here. Damien Hibbs, I'm looking at these guys, wishing I was that quick. Tank saying, hello, sir, hope you're well. Disco, Damien, all about being smooth at Bathurst. You got a new subscriber in me. Thank you very much, Jack. Paul Williams, decent pace from FBR Black and Blue Racing to bring it home the points, but we are green and go for the start of season 11, and already Sam Greaves has got a demon start. Gives it a bit of a wide berth for Sturrock round the outside of turn 1, and look at Duffin and Wolski going side by side out the exit of the first corner. Wolski gets that pull in the BMW over the Ferrari, and Sam Greaves leads here at the beginning of the Bathurst race. We are all through nice and cleanly at turn number 1. Not a yellow flag in sight. Here comes Duffin though, looking up the inside. Bit of contact between him and Wolski, and they're both around at turn 2. Duffin gets a real clatter in the rear. Wolski gets a bit of damage on the front, and there are cars absolutely strewn across the circuit. But all we know is Sam Greaves leads away here with him and Sturrock having a good margin, but a big amount of cars with yellow flags at turn 2, Wellington.
Yeah, clean start until we got to turn 2. I saw Popovich go up the inside of 2 cars, very, very slow, but he made the pass on both of them. So if he uses some of the pace that he had at Indianapolis last season, he could definitely be up there. Greaves and Sturrock with a pretty sizable gap down to Stardog.
Yeah, and Stardog's quite fortunate to miss out on all the drama. 3 seconds to Stardog, back down to Bettison, who has returned to the pit lane with damage. Sir Richard Bettison already in strife on the opening lap of race number 1. And what a shame that is. This is going to be interesting, though, at the moment. To see what happens. Popovich running 6th. Krupeljan now leads in the Ferrari in the bronze category. Clawball's in 8th from Brian Craig. Cherry Moore is P10. Mirko Ricci in 11th. Coates is 2nd in bronze. Tucker is 3rd in the bronze category. And another drama. Jamie Lee down the dipper has had another moment and another spin for the McLaren driver, who around he goes. And with Duffin at the back of the pack. Sorry, Phil Atherton at the back of the pack. You just wonder what else is going to unfold in this race tonight, because we are seeing so much happen already, and not for the good.
Yeah, Greaves already pulling a second on Sturrock. When they came out of Forest Elbow, they were only 7/10 separated. So, again, if Greaves could just keep his head cool, he might be in to win this.
Skunky in the chat says, welcome to Bathurst. Welcome to Bathurst indeed. Back further towards the front, though. Closest fight between Brian Craig and Cherry Moore for 8th and 9th. That is that of Mark Tucker running 3rd in bronze, just going a little wide, as Jamie Lee has also now returned to the pit lane as well. So for him and Bettison, dramas already. And we'll see what happens at the beginning of this race. Cherry Moore looks to pull out on Brian Craig to have a look into turn 2. Can't do anything there. They've got Mirko Ricci right behind them with Coates, and Steve Millington not a million miles away. Tucker within a second. Further down behind Simcoe, there's Gabino and Malarex within that second. Rob Smith as well trying to gain on them. Wolski down to 18th. He's got Royden Stapley on the back of him, who we saw from LMU last night, making that transition over to this as well today. And Duffin into the pits. Is that for one of his mandatory 2 pit stops here? We'll wait and see, as Sanchez is trying to put Mick Taylor under pressure, but is being chased down by his teammate Al Capara, who had a bit of a wiggle out of turn 5 there. That's allowed Diego Flores to get through as well. So a move done there for Flores, but out front, Sam Greaves is started to be caught by Sturrock now.
Ooh, Coates goes a little bit wide coming down the hill. Who is that? Malarex closed on him and had to absolutely hit the anchors. But, Matt, I don't know if it's just me, but it looks like Richie has quite some rear end damage.
Yeah, and a bit of front end, to say the least, as well.
Being a mid-engine, that kind of scares me.
Yeah, you look at the rear end, it looks a mess. The front end also has a few scuff marks on it. Not surprised, though. Steve Millington does. Cherry Moore looks like he's got a bit of front end damage. Brian Craig also, due to the dramas at turn 2. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh no, turn 2 chaos, the worst scenario on lap 1, says Disco in the chat. And indeed it is. As here comes Cherry Moore, having a look on the rear of Brian Craig. Pulls to that inside line. Later on the brakes, up the inside. And a thank you, mama, for the carrots. Mirko Ricci might want to say, as Ricci follows Cherry Moore through. Has he got the move done? Bit of side-to-side contact. Ricci trying to squeeze Brian Craig off the circuit a little bit there. And through he goes. Gabino was looking to make a move. Can't do it there, though. Krupeljan into the pits from the lead of bronze.
Sturrock is slowly reeling in Sam Greaves. from what I could see, it was about 1.2, and now went down to 6 tenths, now back up to 7 tenths. So it seems like the rest of the track Stark is much better around, but coming up and up and down the hill, it seems like Greaves has just a little bit more on that Mercedes.
There's a lot of chaos here in the mid-pack as we was watching Steve Millington try and make a move on Brian Craig. Doosan has come out the pits and is in the middle of this train of cars. Brian Craig nearly clipped the wall there. That allowed Steve to have a bit of a run. What you saw, Wellington, I heard the gasp.
Gluhack just smacked the wall, like really, really heavy. So now Popovich is on the back of him. They still have 9 seconds to Clarball.
Popovich,
But yeah, hopefully
Gluhack here.
Gluhack's.
I don't know if you're seeing the same thing. His bonnet's slightly lifted, so he's got some big front-end damage on that Ferrari.
Yeah, let me.
You can just
Oh
see
yeah,
it.
definitely flapping down the straight. So, nah, it did a little bit more than just scratch off a little bit of paint on the Lumilex door panel, and now Popovich on the back of him.
Whoa! Bounces over the curb and into the side of Gluak, who spins around, manages to avoid the wall. Where did Popovich go? He's off as well, but Popovich tried to go up the inside, just through the little kink on the right-hander. Reminded me of Kieran Argent and Kelly Davis a few seasons ago back on Project Cars 2, but Popovich and Gluak coming together, that's not going to help that front end at all.
Absolutely not. And is he staying out? Yes. If I had spun there, I probably would have just brought it down pit road and just get myself reset, both mentally and the car all reset, and then just go out and hit the laps. But he's taking the gamble to stay out, but he's being caught really, really fast by Clarball and Cherrymore, and they're also bringing Richie into this, although he's slightly outside. But yeah.
Well, what a fight we've got on our hands in the middle of the pack. Just look at that track map. The middle of the pack is absolutely rammed full of cars in this one at the moment. Now, something's happened to Sturrock. Oh, he's got big front-end damage. Not only is he 2.7 off the back of Sam Greaves, but Stardog all over the back of him. Sturrock has got some heavy front-end damage to that car, Wellington.
Yeah, and this is only better for Sam Greaves. Now he's got a 2-second gap. So, again, as long as he could just keep calm, he might actually be able to win this race. And then there's a huge gap to Stardog from Greaves. So, yeah.
Just noting as well in the chat that I'll have to have a chat. Aaron Ditch will have to get the drivers to run the same liveries or similar coloured liveries, because I didn't realise, because Mike's not put the name on, Popovich and Gluak are actually teammates for the Spinners team. So, yeah, they're actually teammates in this. Now down the Conrad Straight we go. You'd imagine that Ford Mustang, even with its restrictor here, would be able to close in on that Mercedes. It's going to be losing a bit down in the straight line. And Stardog not able to close in as much as he'd have probably liked at this moment in time. But Sam Greaves out front. How impressive does Sam look already? Sturrock in.
And Cherrymore and Clarball have both passed Gluak. So, again, I wouldn't be surprised if he brings it down into the pitch just to get a reset. Richie now on the back of him. And Brian Craig not far out.
Gluak into the pit lane. Then Steve Millington looking on the back of Brian Craig here. Just a couple of tenths off the back of him. But he's got Mark Tucker. He's in the bit of a Team Merlot sandwich for Steve Millington at the moment. And behind Tucker, who is your bronze leader in this race at the moment, is Simcoe second in bronze. Then Cabino, Coates from Wolski. Then Malarex. Rob Smith down in 17th from Stapley. Cummins, Privet, Johnson's 21st, Flores 22nd, B-Dog 23rd, Mick Taylor, then Sanchez. White is then down in 26th. White is actually Cranky Duckhead from a few seasons ago. Then it's Al Capara, Phil Atherton running up in 28th. He's got Kruppeljan 29th, Doosan 30th, Betson 31st, who is on the back of one of the Mercedes-Benz here, trying to unlap himself. And then Jamie Lee down the bottom of the pack. And Jamie Lee and DJ Phil Atherton have had a coming together. And Phil has got major damage on the front of his car, just as we'd come off with Phil Atherton there. I don't know what has happened.
I'll check the replay
That's
for
what
you.
That's what I like about you. Following in Langley's footsteps. Love it. Cherry Moore now on the back of Gary Clarball. And while we find out what happened on the replay from Wellington Jimenez. Cherry Mort trying to gain a little bit more. Steve Millington is actually coming under more pressure here from Mark Tucker than what he's being able to apply on the back of Brian Craig. Disco McDisco facing the virtual grandstand, saying... Greaves just got to keep it clean. Damage around here will be killing Sturrock. And oh boy, says the tank in the chat. Oh boy, indeed. Sam Greaves has a 3-second lead over Keenan Stardog. Popovich 3.9 behind, but fastest lap. They've got 11.6 seconds over that of Gary Clarbel.
Oh, so that's what happened. So as the McLaren was passing DJ Phil, he went a little wide, spun on the grass, collecting Phil.
So unfortunate there for both Jamie Lee and for Phil Atherton in that one then. Not a lot it sounds like that Jamie Lee could do. Here is Coates defending from Wolski. Wolski with a bit of front end damage on that BMW. Pulls to the outside. Looks the long way round. Goes deep onto the grass. Nearly clips the wall. Loses out to Malarex. So Wolski there. Day late and $1 short. And we'll have to do it once again at the moment. I'm loving the chaos, says Arctic Fox. Might rejoin GT3 SimPlay. Tank, we'd love it if you did. Here comes Gabino then. Trying to get onto the back now of Mark Tucker. Simcoe has actually got ahead of Tucker. So Simcoe is in now the lead of the bronze category at the moment. And that could allow Steve Millington the chance to try and close in further forward. Disco McDisco face. Oh, Phil, I'll always have a wee soft spot and hope you go well another night. Indeed. So, as Sam Greaves... Disco McDisco face, former race here back in the Project Cars 2 in the early ACC days as well as that is Mark Tucker bouncing off the wall a little bit. Gabino thought around the outside, coming up the mountain, can't do it there though, and he's going to have to wait for another day. Although he's having a look now on the inside as they come towards the top of the mountain and what can you say about the start of this race? It's been a dramatic opening 15 minutes.
Oh yeah. Oh, Millington has some front end damage. So he must have smacked the wall, and Craig also has some rear end damage. But Millington with that front end damage, gonna be interesting to see how he plays it.
Yeah.
Because yeah, just heading down onto the Conrad, it's flapping quite a bit.
Disco McDisco face, by the way, 5 race wins, 18 podiums, 8 pole positions in 83 race starts. Was his stats from many moons ago. My old BMW will return one day. I can't wait, Disco, to be honest with you. My fondest memory of Disco McDisco face was back when we did a short season on ACC on the PS4 days. Mike was struggling at Catalonia. Disco sent him a setup. Mike went and put it on pole. He didn't win that race that day, as here goes Steve Millington, backs out that one. He didn't win that race at Catalonia that day, though, Beefy. Can you guess who did?
I cannot.
He sat in the commentary box with you. There was a little hint as to why I was saying, can you guess who? Any
not off.
He's in the commentary box with you.
Oh,
thank you.
Certain
it's twigged.
Matt Duffin.
It's twigged. Well done. Steve Millington now looks to the outside line of Brian Craig.
You could tell I just came back from work.
That's what I mean. Your mum and dad have been sat there with their head in their hands thinking, oh, Wellington, it was right there for you. Millington couldn't get past Brian Craig there as Simcoe is also trying to do it. You heard Disco saying he was so mad at Mike that night. Mike still mentions it to this day, Disco. That's the only reason I've remembered it, because he still mentions it to this day. You'll have to jump in the chat tomorrow night, Disco, to have a moan at Mike while he's out there on the circuit. Wolski is trying to gain once again onto the back now of Coates. So he has cleared Malarex once again. And he's trying to look on the back of Coates. Any battles further down the order? Rob Smith in for his first stop. Jamie Lee out on track. Phil Atherton is back out on track. Mick Taylor has done his first stop. He's now in for his second of the 2 stops. So Mick Taylor trying to go to the end and fastest lap of the race at the moment. Michael Johnson in the Lexus.
Not at all surprised. I said at the top of the stream that his adaptability is unlike anybody that I've seen in a long time. Last season he was in the Porsche.
Yep.
Season before that he was in the Nissan. So now into the Lexus. So again, not surprised at all.
You can say Nissan properly, by the way.
2 stops left to do, but
You can
If
say
he's running that type of pace.
you can say Nissan properly. You're American, so you're allowed to say it the other way.
Oh, huge dive bomb from Johnson on Stapley and Cummins. He goes wide, gives the positions back.
Yeah, just seeing here as well. Lose this. This is Gabino with Wolski on that inside. So Wolski trying to get past Gabino, pulls back in front. So Wolski moves ahead of the Lamborghini. He's going to be chasing down Mark Tucker in a moment. That's Rob Smith, who's just come out the pit lane. Now, this is going to be the other interesting thing here tonight, Wellington, is drivers who pit early and get caught in their pit stops could end up a lap down, but they don't really want to ruin their race by being constantly going slow for the blue flags. They need to make sure that they can... oh, that was Mark Tucker! Mark Tucker in the wall. Has he lost a place? Yes, he has to Wolski, not to Gabino, though. Or has he to Gabino, who looks up the inside at the cutting? And yes, he does now. So Gabino through. But yeah, you're going to have to... It's going to be crucial here tonight. Battle for the lead. Stardog has closed down on the leader. Oh, and who's that in the wall? I think that's Gluhak in the wall once again. Just as the leaders have gone past, Gluhak is in the wall again. Major damage to his car. Not the night and the start to the season that Gluhak would have wanted.
Yeah, absolutely not. But if the rest of the rounds go well, he could just take this as his drop round. So I wouldn't think too hard of it. It's the beginning of the season. Still have another 8 weeks worth of drop scores. So all you have to do is just make it out of here with at least some points by not retiring. And then reset to go to the drive-through central or capital of the world, Valencia.
Oh, God. Yeah.
And hope to make it out of there cleanly.
Valencia next time on the calendar for the normal races, the reverse grid. I say the normal races, there's only 4 of them, so arguably the special races, you could say, this season. But Popovic gaining on the leaders here, and Stardog right on the back of Sam Greaves. Stephen Beck saying the Geordie bomb and Mickey Johnson. Can Beef explain to me who Craig is? I think he means Craig, but the Americans can't pronounce their I's, like mobile and aluminum. And Disco McDisco Face. Okay, I'm going to stop hoarding the chat now. Join my semi-sober wife again. Have a great night, gents. I'll try and catch you tomorrow. Best luck to all you guys. Yeah, thanks a lot, Disco. Have a good one, buddy, and we'll see you hopefully tomorrow night. Where Wellington will be back out on the track, not in his Porsche, though, in the Ford Mustang, I do believe, Wellington.
Yeah, again, we put a stick of tanner right in the BMW. We'll leave that at Donington Park's garage. But yeah, back in the better pony because the Ferrari's awful. I'll die on that hill. But yeah, back in the Ford, we're going to see what I could do. Right now, I'm on board with a fellow Ford driver, Cherry Moore. He was right on the back of Clarball coming up the hill, ran a little bit wide. But Mustang, again, isn't half bad around here as long as he could just keep it out of the walls. Clarball really, really close to that wall. But yeah, it definitely seems like Cherry Moore has a little bit more in the first sector, but in this very, very tight, twisty second sector, Clarball just pulls away. And if I had to assume, once they get onto the straight, Cherry Moore's going to grab his fishing rod and reel in that Porsche.
Well, Wolski just got past Simcoe. Looked like they were both having a bit of a moment. Wolski's got past him, and Steve went around the outside of turn 3 of Simcoe as well. We've got Gluhak in for his second and final stop. Nobody has yet decided to just complete their pit stops. And out front, it's a 3-way fight for the lead. Sam Greaves, Keenan Stardog and Popovic all going at it for the lead of this race at the moment. Millington now will be under pressure from that of Wolski behind, who's on a charge to claw back some points. Coates going side by side with Mark Tucker. This is for second place in that bronze category. Malarex fancies joining in and having a look on the inside of Coates, or is he trying to defend from Michael Johnson, who swoops around the outside of Malarex, dives up the inside of Coates, and it's a 2-for-1 special. Michael Johnson is loving life in the Lexus right now. He's pulling off moves like it's nobody's business.
And Malarex comes in to knock out the first of his stops.
What an interesting race we've got on our hands here. Like you say, Malarex in for his stop. This is on board with Keenan Stardog at the moment. Sam Greaves, the man in the lead of this race. Where can Keenan, in such a big Ford, in the big bulky Ford Mustang, get past the Mercedes-Benz here? Because it's going to be difficult. Mercedes is no slouch in a straight line.
Yeah, especially with the restrictor, which in my opinion makes it pretty easy to drive. But I would say heading toward the chase, the last corner, and the first corner are where you're going to have the best chances.
Well, let's see then as they come down towards the elbow now. Stardog getting closer to Greaves under braking. I haven't seen Mercedes dominant since the Project Cars 2 days, so can Greaves be the one to bring Mercedes to being back as the top dog here? McLaren seems to have been the dominant car to be in over the last couple of seasons. But at the moment, you have to say Sam Greaves doing a great job holding his own. Popovic just in the background as well. He was in the Mercedes last season. Drove pretty well at times. Obviously got that drive-through for being out of position at the start of Indianapolis. Wolski trying to gain on Millington. Millington trying to gain on Brian Craig. Gabino on the back of Simcoe nearly. And then we got Johnson who's got past Tucker now. So Johnson trying to pull away from Tucker with Coates and Cummins there for company. Further down the order, fight between Doosan and Rob Smith. Rob Smith just a little further up the road. That's Rob Smith's teammate actually putting a lap on him there. And Gluak, the first man to complete his pit stops. He's got to go to the end of this race now. He will not want to pit a third time. So can Gluak finally get some momentum in this race? He's 3 laps down to the leader. But obviously with them pitting twice, has that chance to try and potentially unlap himself a little bit.
It's going to be very, very hard, just even to go to the end. But as we know, the Ferrari is extremely good on fuel. So if he can go to the end, I wouldn't be surprised. But the tires are going to be almost just on the rim. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he plays it from here. If he just kind of stays back, at least maintains his tires so he doesn't get a slow puncture, he could definitely be up for some decent points.
Apologies there, not sure what happened there. The stream just decided to refresh itself and go back to an old one on the YouTube account. Here comes Stardog bringing Popovic with him and with Greaves. This is for the lead of the race then. 1, 2 and 3. Clarbel 19 seconds behind. So even though these three, they're not really holding each other up at the moment, but Clarbel just cannot get any closer at this moment in time.
Yeah, and he also has to worry about Cherry Moore slowly closing in. Although that gap has opened, they were within touching distance of each other. But I think Gav is just slowly settling down and just gonna put in the laps to get to the end of this race.
The interesting thing here is I can see in front of me the timing tower on the timing screen I have. The fuel at the minute is really interesting to read. There is a lot of different strategies out there, and that's going to play really an interesting part and factor into this. I've just sent you the link for the timing screen itself, Wellington. So
I don't have my computer.
That's fine. That's fine. It's there for next time. But that's going to play an interesting factor into itself, because what strategy have people gone? And with the looks of that, having all these different strategies out there, it's going to play a different part into this race. And we might not know until everybody's done their pit stop who's going to be where.
Well, I would say until at least the second pit stop, and then we'll know. But the first pit stop is just going to kind of set the sand a little bit, and then after they finish the second pit stop, we should end up with a little bit of a sandcastle.
Well, let's wait and see what happens out there for all the drivers out on track at the moment. Just going to drop back down to Wolski. He's got past Steve Millington, looking on the back of Brian Craig at the moment. So is this a chance for Wolski here to move back up into 6th place? Pulls out to have a look. Can't do so at the moment, though, can Wolski. Has a little
Millington
wiggle as well.
A bit wide.
Yeah, he's under pressure here from Simcoe, who's going to try and look around the outside of Steve Millington at the cutting, and does make the move around the outside. Great move from Simcoe. That Gabino's with him as well. And here goes Wolski around the outside, coming up the mountain. Oh, nearly squeezed into the wall there. Really close at the moment. Matt Wright in the virtual grandstand saying so tricky for these front guys to know when to pit. They come in now and they're going to be in traffic. That's the hard part at the moment. 82. I'm seeing car 82 yellow flag. That is B-Dog who's had an off at the chase. And I believe we have had a retirement from this race already. Oh, Clarbel's in a wall.
Like it.
Clarbel's in a wall down the dipper. Just seen him sideways as I went back on board with Steve Millington. He's fallen behind Michael Johnson. Coates is coming round now. He's got to be careful.
Passed safely.
Oh, Clawball then down the order massively there. And Greaves. Oh, Greaves has got damage. Greaves is in the pits with damage. What has happened to the race leader? He's in the pits. The bonnet is open on that car. And Sam Greaves, what has he done? Wolski looks right around the outside of Brian Craig. Great move from him. And this race is going to go anyway at the minute.
Yeah. Let's see.
The retirement we've had is Philip Atherton, from what I'm seeing, who has retired from this race. So that'll mean a qualifying ban going into his next one in this series for this season. Obviously, the qualifying ban's been there from seasons past. Simcoe now looking up the inside of Brian Craig on the exit of turn number 1. And is this Simcoe's opportunity? Yes, it is. Can he get past that Lamborghini? Lamborghini will have the inside line, though, for the next couple of corners. Has he got enough to get the move done? Simcoe round the outside. Brian Craig might be braver on the brakes. Nope, Simcoe gets the job done.
Yep, right around the outside. Quite a difficult move to make, but for all we know, Craig could have just been letting him go and trying to settle down. Again, still an hour, 3 minutes left of this 90-minute race, so seats definitely should be getting comfortable for the drivers. Hopefully they have a pillow behind their back or you know, just something for a little bit of comfort, because 90 minutes, we did the 100-minute race last night. I felt like a zombie, but yeah, 90 minutes, 10 minutes shorter, but pretty sure it'll still have the same effect on these drivers.
Indeed it will. Malarex now looking on the back of Sanchez in the Mercedes-Benz, so Philip Atherton with the retirement in this one then. So sadly for him, that'll be qualifying
Johnson in the wall,
coming
enforced
way.
Elbow.
He's on the back of Steve though. Does he have much damage on the front of his car? Not a lot, a little bit. And I tell you what, that Lexus
Steve does have quite a bit on the front, but yeah, that Lexus is a rocket ship on the straight. So Johnson up another position.
He's up into 8th place now with the fastest lap. He's going great guns at the moment, is Michael Johnson. Stephen Beck, which is Hunt in the chat, said Sam was punted, I think. 100-minute race yesterday was nothing, says Flinth. I hope you're ready for Bathurst. A lot more laps to do at Bathurst. It's going to be an interesting one to see. I had a fight for position for 98 minutes, says Flinth. Which one's Flinth from yesterday? Is that Townsend?
That's Zlatnik.
Oh, Zlatnik. Zlatnik, yes, you did have a great fight. I was watching a lot of that yesterday. 637. No, the 63. Who's that? That's Privet. Car behind Privet. Coates has had a moment. He's dropped behind Privet now, and Privet will get that 11th place spot. Privet running second now in the bronze category, so good stuff from Privet. I can see Malarex's inspiration for that sexy BMW livery.
Ooh, 13 is off.
Who's the number 13 then? Unlucky for some.
White.
And it is White, one of the new drivers in the wall at Skyline. Clawball just gets through, so Clawball gets a place back. Oh, did Clawball nearly lose the rear there? So we've had one retirement in DJ Phil.
Quite a lot of damage, at least on the front. Rear looks, yeah, pretty bad too. Hopefully he could just nerf that into the pits, and while he's at it, knock out the first of the 2 stops.
Indeed he did. On board with Harris. Let's go on board his car to see Harry if he can get past Brian Craig then down the Conrad straight. Look at that Lexus go. Pulls to the inside line of Brian Craig. The 105 is into the pits. That is Rob Smith. Yellow flag, and into the pit lane he comes. And Michael Harris moves now up into 7th.
The backstretch. That's the car 23. And
yeah, the 199. That's Doosan. And the 23 of Mark Tucker. The 13, White, is also into the pit lane. So already some damage for drivers out there. Duffin, who's already done one of his pit stops. Return to the pit lane.
White spun at the exit of the final corner.
He's got to get that moving. Starts to get it to move now. Here comes one of the Lexus. Is that Richard Bettison? Yes, it is. So Bettison will be able to unlap himself. For some reason, my kid's tablet keeps pinging every time I say certain words, so I'm going to have to remove that in a moment. But yeah, so far, it has been a crazy start to this race.
In the chase.
He was around Duffin as well. Duffin's now into the pit lane. It's a strange old race, this, at the moment. It's going cloudy, though. Good evening to Hypertech in the chat who says, come on, Stardog. Hello to Benny Varga as well. And Paul Williams, Sam listed it on his own, he says. He can't park there. No, you are quite right. Good evening to John Gudo. He'll be back out on the track. White has got some significant damage. Back out front, though. Popovic starting to put the pressure on Keenan Stardog. Sam Greaves was leading this race. Not sure what happened to him. But Sam ended up with big front-end damage. It's dropped him down the order, by the way. He's come out the pits in 18th place. But he is on the lead lap. That's the crucial thing for Sam. He is still on that lead lap with the top 11 still to make the first stop. So Steve's in now.
Yeah, and luckily for Greaves and Sturck, they've already done that first pit stop. And I guess this is where we're gonna see the time loss of at least one stop, and if they took tires or not, and maybe they took a heavier fuel load. But Terry Moore was about 8th. Now he finds himself in 3rd, but he still has to do at least one of his stops, and then we'll see where he filters out.
Well, Popovic
and
is
Richie
into the
not
pits.
Far behind.
Car 23. That is Tucker, who's done his second stop-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So Mark Tucker there has got to pit once again.
Yeah, seems like his race is slowly falling apart. But again, we still have another 7 races worth of drop scores, so as long as he could not retire from this race and come away with some points, he could still be in for that bronze championship at the end of...
Well, DJ Phil has rejoined the server, so obviously doesn't fancy that qualifying man. He's got to get out on track as soon as possible, because otherwise he will still receive it. You've got to complete 3/4 of the race. Phil hasn't missed too much at the moment, so can still go. Wolski's on the back of Mirko Ricci here, Wellington, so going to be interesting to see what Wolski can do. He's carrying some front-end damages, Wolski, but it doesn't seem to be affecting his BMW.
Yeah, I feel like the same thing for the Ford. You could have some front-end damage, but just the legs that they have kind of counteracts all the damage that you have. And I think the Lexus as well. Is that Tucker in the wall?
Number 23, it will be Tucker, number 23. So he's in the wall out there at the moment. Popovic has done one of his stops. He's came out... is that ahead of Brian Craig? It is. So Popovic is out in P8 at the moment. So, and if you look at the track map, Popovic doesn't have too much traffic in front of him. Just Privet 3 seconds up the road, the bronze driver. Now, if you're wondering about the classes, unlike LMU, where it is 2 different classifications of car for race wins, pole positions and points, all of this being GT3, all the points are scored for overall positions here on ACC. So, Privet doesn't really want to yield to Popovic, thinking, well, it's not going to matter to me. This is for every single point they can get.
Yeah, it definitely does spice up the championship, because you never know when, like at Indianapolis and Pro last season, Maiga ended up taking the overall win as a gold driver,
yep.
And I think the top platinum finished in 4th.
Second. Because Harris was gold, who was then 3rd, I do believe. So it was an Class 1, the last Donington race, if you remember last year, the last race of the season. In gold.
Yes.
He won the Donington Decider in the Gold Championship, won the race outright. The likes of Ben Ruck on the grid and Schmidt as well. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Really wish I had that type of pace, but yeah.
You're looking all right for Bathurst from what I've seen so far. Here comes Sanchez, who's trying to gain on. In fact, that's Cherry Moore, who's just actually put a lap, I believe, on Sanchez. He's trying to work his way through the field. He's got a couple more cars in front of him. One being Clawball, who he was catching a few laps ago. Wolski into the pit, Simcoe into the pit. So that releases Coates, Privet and Popovic. So Popovic won't mind that. Gain 2 places back. And one of them places being Wolski. So that's nice for him. Can Wolski's just come out the pit lane. Where's Gabino? Gabino's got ahead of Wolski after the pit stops. And Malarex and Brian Craig also might get ahead of Wolski. Malarex has. Brian Craig hasn't. No, he won't. So Brian Craig will not. But Wolski comes out just behind that of Malarex. Class saying, yes, I did. John saying, come on, GBR boys. Benny Varga, I think this is the best point system yet in our ACC Championship. So that's good to hear, Benny. Positive vibes there. And I've just noticed we have got exactly 30 subscribers in 2 days. So what an effort from everybody in the chat. Well done, lads and ladies in the chat. As here comes Stapley, gaining on Cummins a little bit. Further down the order, Phil Atherton is back out on circuit. Royden Stapley in that Bentley. A couple of Bentleys out there tomorrow night. See what they can do. As Wolski trying to put the pressure now on the back of Malarex here. Stardog leads by 28 seconds. Stardog yet to pit though. So the net pit leader is that. There's a yellow flag at the elbow. That's the 207. As these guys are coming round to the elbow. Got to be careful. There is a car somewhere. It must have got going. Wolski gets a tighter line through the elbow. Malarex stays ahead for the time being though. Wolski trying to just look everywhere he can at the moment. Net pit leader is Popovic. He's got ahead of Privet so far. There's a car just off ahead of them. They're kicking up a little bit of dirt at this moment in time. So we'll see what Wolski can do. He's actually got past that of Malarex. No, he hasn't. Malarex has chose to come in to get his second stop done, I think. Yes, he has. So Malarex getting his 2 pit stops out the way back to back here.
Yeah, not a terrible strategy, but BMW is a little iffy on tires. At least from my experience, could have just been a skill issue. But yeah, we'll see what he could do, at least from here. Give it a full tank of fuel and just bang out the laps.
So your net pit leader is Popovic, who's in the traffic of what looks to be Jamie Lee at the moment. Now, drivers aren't supposed to lap cars down the mountain, but I feel like he's been on the back of Jamie Lee for a little bit here. Oh, Jamie Lee's off in a big way at the top of the mountain. Over Skyline, Jamie Lee is off and in the wall. And we have had another retirement from this race. Jamie Lee's facing the wrong way as he tries to get onto the gravel to be able to turn it around. And that looks like it's possibly caused more of a nuisance than what it was. And he reverses back onto the gravel now, just as Wolski looked like he was coming over the hill. So who was retired from the race this time around? Because we are down to the 31 drivers. Phil Atherton, Rob Smith, Jamie Lee. It looks like it's Diego Flores. That may have been a connection issue. So we'll see if Flores can get back in this race at the moment. Flint in there, I can confirm it's a skill issue. Benny Varga, survey of literally theory lect. I don't even know what it does. And Wainwright, Stardog flying out front. He's yet to pit though, Wainwright. So at the moment, his gap looks bigger than what it possibly is.
Oh, Johnson in the wall hard right behind Malarex.
Still going though. So side on, was it?
More like headlight on. Not really side, not really front, just right in the middle.
So there we go. So Johnson's still going though on the back of Malarex. And Stardog yet to pit. So when does Stardog decide to pull the trigger? Because he's starting to gain on some traffic here, lap traffic as well. When does Stardog decide to pull the trigger here in the pit lane?
I would say probably within the next 10 minutes, just come in for tires, fuel. Then on the second stop, maybe about another 20 minutes past, just come in for fuel and see yourself to the end.
Well, let's see what happens then. So we have lost Diego Flores from this race at the moment. Stardog chooses to carry on. 32, Mirko Ricci is off down the dipper. Coates has not yet caught up to him and gone through, but he's got big front end damage. Does Mirko Ricci in this one at the moment. So all of a sudden, the Italian driver, who was going pretty well, has now been in the wall, and that's going to hurt him massively.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge repair time for him, which could potentially see him lose out to Coates and maybe Popovich, because they're right next to each other. Gerbino might be a little bit of a stretch, but depending on how heavy the damage is, Gerbino could potentially get in front of Ricci.
The cloud has really rolled in here. Thick cloud coming over. Class A and a lot of guys crashing. There's a lot of drivers losing it on their own. And I've just noticed on the timing tower, Sturrock is 8/10 off the back of Greaves, so they get to resume their battle before Sturrock got his damage. And obviously, Greaves is there because he had damage as well. Malarex has lost out to Johnson. And we're currently watching Kruppeljan, who's having a look up the inside of Clauble. Can't do it at the moment. But so far, Wellington, it's been an all right race, hasn't it? It's been a lot of drama so far.
Yeah, just drivers losing it on their own, not really losing it in a pack. But I think the biggest incident that we've seen was just the turn 2 lap 1. But yeah, as long as they can keep it clean for the next 48 minutes, it should be okay. But knowing Bathurst, and we haven't really hit money hour, that would be like in the last 10 minutes where the drivers will start putting in every ink that they have.
Well, the cloud has come over. Is there rain imminent? It was sunnier at the start of this race, so is rain inbound here at Bathurst? And I'm sure that's exactly what the drivers want at this stage of the race, is a little bit of a rain shower, especially if you're the likes of Malarex, who's Gluhak and Tucker, who's already done both your pit stops.
Yeah, but if it were to rain, then they're going to have to make a third pit stop. But if some of these drivers were just to stay out, with the majority of them having one stop left to go, if it does rain, then they could double up, throw on a set of wets, and do that second pit stop. So a little bit of a gamble from Malarex and Gluhak.
Beef, is this the bonus of not necessarily making both your stops straight away and waiting to see if that rain comes, maybe making both at the end?
Well, yeah, definitely for Pro-Am, it seems like it's better to stay out, but knowing Pro, where it's always going to be dry, might as well just knock it out and sweat for 90 minutes.
So Doosan now has the fastest lap of the race. Sturrock has, it says he's 7/10 behind Sam Greaves when he's actually a couple of tenths in front of Sam Greaves. So Sturrock has got ahead. Stardog still leads here, yet to make his stop. Cherrymore second, yet to make his stop. Coates as well has still got 2 pit stops remaining. Bettison has 2 as well, but he's now into the pits. This is going to be interesting to keep our eyes on when these leaders decide to pit. Privet is being caught at the moment by Malarex. So Johnson back up to 14th place, but he's got some 14 seconds to catch on to the back of Steve Millington. Royden Stapley trying to get on the back of Alistair Cummins in this one. And this is going to be an interesting little battle. Stapley goes a little deep, just onto the gravel a little bit. Steve's nowhere near at the moment to interfere with that. Rob Smith, I've just seen in the Discord, is struggling with his shifters, hence why he's returned to the pits. So Rob Smith could have a shifter issue here, and what a shame for him. I know in the week he was struggling with a wheel issue. But what a race this is. If you like what you see here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified, as well as going down to the description and checking out our fantastic sponsor, Design Manchester, producers of laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much more, including SimPlay Motorsport merchandise. Head over to their Facebook page Designed Manchester, for that one. Who got some lovely broadcasting last night, by the way, on the back of on the roof and rear wing of Langley's car. So it was nice to see that. I'm sure Mike, if he hasn't watched it back, can thank us for that one greatly.
Wonder who made that livery.
Yeah, I suppose the SimPlay team have to thank Gordon Ramsay himself for making the livery. Not the Gordon Ramsay, but Gordon Ramsay Jimenez for making the livery for us. Beautiful looking livery. And there's one for the BMW, and hopefully we can get that Porsche and Ford one out there soon as well, as Malarex gaining on Privet here. Phil Atherton sent you a video in Discord. Phil, stop sending me videos, please. You've either got to race or retire, buddy. I can't be looking at videos while on the commentary box, so it's no good sending them me now. It's either race or retire, please, because you can't keep sending videos while I'm in the commentary box. Wainwright saying, nice to see the Bentley this season. Indeed it is. There's a couple tomorrow, Wainwright, as well. Class, all right. I'm going to study now. If I hear Duffin scream, then I'll look, he says in the virtual grandstand. And Chris Rook, good evening, Chris. Great night last night, Matt. LMU is going to be the future. What a night it was. What a night it was indeed. Almost 1,000 views on that stream already. And, yeah, brilliant night of LMU action. We'll be live at Bahrain next week, where hopefully I might get to certain Mr. Matt Wright in the commentary box as we just gain another subscriber. Thank you very much for the subscribe. We are 70 views away from reaching 1,000 views on that one. Not far off the back of a certain somebody who let a commentator go as well. So not that we need to keep going on about that. Stapley on the back of Cummins here. They've got Doosan trying to unlap himself. Greaves has been into the pits now for his second stop. Still the two leaders, though, Wellington, out on track on their own.
Yeah, Stardog is catching up to quite a train of about 4 cars. So it's going to be interesting to see if he pulls the plug. In front of him, he has Cummins, Stapley, Millington, and Ferrari. Not sure who that is. Gonna find
I think
out.
that's Doosan just behind Stapley here, who's not trying to unlap himself. It's either Doosan or Gluhak. But that is I believe, the Verstappen.com livery of Doosan, I do believe. It is, yeah.
Yes. But yeah, Stardog is coming on them pretty quickly. So it'll be interesting, again, to see if he just pulls the plug, comes down to the pits, and should end up with maybe 1 or 2 cars in front of him, but they'll all be singlets and not a whole train. And Cherry Moore into the pits for the first of his stops.
Yeah, Coates is as well, isn't he? So Coates is coming for the first of his stops. You just get the feeling, is Stardog waiting for potential rain to come here?
Definitely a gamble, but I would say to at least get out one stop, or at least get one stop out of the way. Just come down for fuel, maybe a fresh set of tires in case it doesn't rain. But
Stapley got ahead there of Cummins. Apologies, Beef. Momentarily went deep at the chase, and Cummins gets back ahead. And yeah, what a shame there. Where is Doosan? He's just got past one of the Lamborghinis. I think that might be Mark Tucker. It is.
Stardog in.
Right, so Stardog choosing to box now. 42 minutes left in this race. Stardog in from Popovic. Popovic just coming down through the dipper at the moment. Can Popovic jump Stardog with that undercut?
Well, with the pace that Popovic has been running, wouldn't be surprised if he did. But it also depends on if Stardog elects to repair any damage that he has, or maybe if he takes tires or not, because that'll be an extra few seconds.
Well, let's wait and see. I wonder if he, like you say, I wonder if he does take the tyres. That could be an interesting call here. Will he just try and gamble them tyres until the end? That would be a big ask to do, an hour and a half on a set of tyres. Here, it's not like LMU where double stinting and triple stinting tyres is a bit of a factor. I know from Brad last night he did not take tyres. The 207 has had a moment down at turn 1. The 207, I believe, is Mick Taylor. Indeed it is. He's off at Hell's Corner. And he's not going to lose out to Jamie Lee, though. Jamie Lee way too far behind. Gets back on. Privet has been overtaken by Malarex. Michael Johnson's got the gap to 4 seconds to Coates. Millington now running up in 11th place. And where did Popovic come out?
Stardog is out.
Yeah.
Popovic right on the back, but he's about full speed. Seems like Stardog didn't repair any of the damage. So did he take tires is the question. I guess we'll find out in a matter of laps.
Tyres will be a little cool on Stardog's car. Not massively amount. Don't forget on ACC, the tyres do heat up pretty quickly on ACC. So It's not a great amount that Stardog's got to worry about here. But he knows that Popovic is within that 2 seconds. Brian Craig coming under pressure from Cherry Moore at the moment, though, Wellington. Tanner in the chat, no rain, you lied to me, Duffin. No, in all the practice sessions people was posting in Discord, it was wet. At the moment, we've not seen a drop, and it was bound to happen, you're right.
Cherry Moore still on the back, going to the inside of Craig. Let's see how late Cherry Moore goes. Sure enough, up another position, heading up the mountain.
Good position.
Pretty good on the brakes. Of course, not as good as the BMW from as much as I've driven it, but the Ford, you can brake comically late and still make the corner, and that corner is one of them.
Simcoe's going well, isn't he? P5 leader in bronze. Everybody's at least done one stop now, so Simcoe going really well at the moment. The 82 yellow flag, that is B-Dog, who's recovering from a moment at the chase. And I don't think Rob Smith has been able to get that those shifting problems sorted at the moment. So Phil Atherton, who's still 4 laps down on Rob Smith, needs to try and get them laps back. But Popovic has got the gap to a second now to Stardog, and Stardog was just in the dropped a wheel over the dirt at the moment. So Popovic is coming. For the time being, no real close battles on the track happening at the moment. Johnson's got the fastest lap back. He's gaining on Coates here really rapidly. And it's just gone a little quiet for the time being.
Repair any of his damage, but he is closing in on Wolski. Was 1.7 heading into the chase, and now down to only 9/10.
So let's go down to Gabino. Who was that actually in a wall? It was one of the white McLarens. So not sure who that was, but Wolski trying to hunt down after Gabino in this one at the moment. Let's see what he can do as they come towards turn number 2. As they start to climb up the mountain. Wolski's definitely closed that gap down more than 9/10 of a second here at Wellington as well.
Well, it's just as it was updating, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Wolski could just stay patient, maybe get him heading into the chase. That'll be the best and the safest option, not just for Wolski, but for the both of them and any cars that may be behind.
Oh, Michael Johnson is passing people for fun tonight. He's just got another one. He's got ahead of Coates coming through the final corner. Lovely run out the chase and gets the move done. So good stuff there. On board then again with Wolski and with that of Gabino. Down the dipper they now come. Wolski involved in that lap 1 drama with Doosan. Just a little wiggle there for Wolski. Popovic has lost out 7/10 to Stardog at the moment. Wolski wide line in. Tight to the apex and brings it out. Gabino, though, pulled away a little bit through there. It looked just a bit. But we've seen how quick Wolski's been in a straight line tonight. I'm sure he'd love to be on the back of Gabino coming up towards the chase. Popovic now within 8/10 of a second. So has the traffic just helped Popovic out a little bit here? Wolski not gaining massive amounts. Simcoe's away behind at the moment. Wolski and Gabino, Simcoe's 11 seconds behind. They go at it once more. Popovic brings the gap down to 7/10 over the line. So keep our eyes on that gap. Just dropping down the order. No other battles happening. Rob Smith still in that pit lane at this moment in time. Very surprised we haven't seen the rain tonight. I really am.
Yeah, I am too. I thought it was going to be pouring down the entire 90 minutes, which probably would have made this race a little bit more chaotic. But chaotic fun, at least for us.
Wolski side by side now with Gabino. To the outside, Wolski's going to look. Is this going to be Gabino who's going to try and come back later on the brakes into turn 2? No, he's backed out of it. And Wolski then on the podium. Greasy Bandits Racing running 1 and 3 at the minute. Good start to their season. Brian Craig gaining on Sturrock here. Royden, stay
so
please.
I just checked the lap times between Stardog and Popovic. Popovic is a little bit quicker over the past couple of laps. So that's going to be interesting to see. Most of Stardog's laps are in the 203 range. Popovic is in the low 203 range, just touching into the 202s.
So let's keep our eyes on this Stardog Popovic fight then. Stardog with that bit of damage on the front of his Mustang. And some lap traffic. I believe that's B-Dog just in front. The 63. Who's the 63? That's Privet, who's off. And needs to be careful here because he's got the leaders about to come and put a lap on him. He's got a bit of traffic coming through. One was Clawball, I believe. The other is the 96 of Sam Greaves. Privet now slowly starts to get going as here comes, I believe, B-Dog, Stardog and Popovic. So Privet's going to need to be cautious here. And he's actually coming into the pit lane. Cummins also into the pits. He's done his second mandatory stop. For the guys who's done their second stops here, if it does decide to rain, that's going to be a third stop in this race for them. Could cost them some valuable positions. And Popovic is as close as he's been in a long time here on Stardog.
Yeah, and only 4/10 out, definitely within slipstream range. As long as he stays within 0.6, I remember on ACC, he'll have that slipstream. But Mustang, even with the restrictor, is still going to pull a little bit on the BMW. Also depends on what type of wing setting he's running. But even in the Mustang, you could run max wing and still be able to pull on Ferraris and Porsches. So wouldn't be surprised if he is running that max wing. Yeah, pulled a little bit from Popovic from 4/10 to 7/10.
Stardog going great guns at the moment on the straights, like we've just said. And Popovic has got to do all the work through this mountain section, it would seem, over Stardog. That seems to be where he's got the better car over Keenan Stardog. And it's about who makes that little mistake to possibly open the door or for Stardog to potentially pull away. Really throwing it in there was Popovic over the curb and a bit on the grass, coming down through the dipper. And he's right under the rear wing of the Ford Mustang here, down in towards the elbow. Looked like he was thinking of ascent, keeps it tight to the wall. Popovic is right there. Did his exit get compromised a little bit? But he's right with Stardog
Definitely
now.
Seems like it.
Here we go. Let's go on board with Popovic then. Coming down through the Conrod Straight towards the chase. There you go. Stardog's just maybe off the throttle a little bit. And Popovic can go through once again. So at the moment, Stardog has that upper hand on the straight line. But Popovic is right there through the corners. A lot of drivers have finished their second pit stops here. Another drop rain inside. This is a battle, though, for the race lead in this one. What a busy circuit it is. There's not a good gap. I suppose coming up the mountain's probably the best gap there is out there on the circuit at the moment. But what a busy circuit. Well, Popovic has just got to stick in that slipstream of Stardog here. He wants to get the lap over the McLaren before turn 2. I don't think he's going to be able to, you know. Unless he... No, he does. He gets the McLaren. So Stardog now got to put the Mercedes-Benz ahead under a bit of pressure in this race to be able to get himself out of trouble. The more that Mercedes holds Stardog up, the worse it's going to be. The Mercedes really slows, allows both of them through. Popovic, so with a huge slide coming up the mountain there. That's just cost him a bit of time from Stardog.
Yeah, that's, I would say, about the third or fourth time I've seen him have a slide coming up the mountain. So maybe just ride high or maybe wing.
Well, let's see what's going to happen here then, because at the moment, Stardog is being able to control this race. He's not having to defend yet, Wellington, and this is the interesting point for Stardog. He's not losing too much time because he's not having to defend a lot.
I will tell you what. I don't know if it's the traffic or something, but Wolski has closed in a second in the last lap.
Johnson gaining on the back of Millington, but traffic may put to bed that one. He might have to wait for the Conrod Straight. As here comes Popovic. Down towards the chase.
Definitely better on the brakes.
Yeah, a lot better on the brakes. Stardog just has that straight line speed, it seems, at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know how long he's been driving the Mustang, nor to know the funny bits that it has, especially with, again, just how good the brakes are. Feels like you have carbon brakes. But, yeah, you can send it just a little bit harder, if not as hard, as Clarball is off in the distance. But yeah, I feel like you could send it harder or about as hard in the BMW. Well, we'll definitely find that out with Monza and Suzuka.
Yeah.
Just who could send it the hardest.
Steve Millington's catching Royden Stapley here. He's got Harris all over the back of him. This could be Harris's turn to maybe try and get onto the back of the Bentley by the time they get to the chases. Here comes Harris. Clarball into the pits once again. So he's come in for his next stop. And Harris going to
No,
look...
he had just returned to pits.
Oh, returned to pits. There we
went
go.
off the exit of turn 1.
Harris past Millington, then up the inside in towards the chase. There you go. And look at this. Popovic is really pretty. He's pretty much pushing Starlog over the mountain. Down towards the dipper. Sam Greaves is off in the wall again at the top of the mountain then. So Sam Greaves has had another off. What a shame for him. It was going so well at the start of this race. And all of a sudden now, Stardog coming under even more pressure. Now he might have to start to think of if that BMW gets a chance, can he send one up the inside as they get to the chase? Good exit. No, it's not. Bit of a wiggle for Popovic there.
Yeah, it seemed like he just went into the wall, but hopefully he's gotten away with like a 2 to 3 seconds of damage, because anything past that almost feels undrivable, and it kind of feels like you have a weight in the back of that car. But if it's 3 seconds of damage, the car still feels like it's straight from the factory.
Jamie Lee gaining on the back of Mick Taylor, but Jamie Lee has got another pit stop to do. Clarball in the chat saying, I hate this track. I don't think many people are fans. It was voted by our Patreons. So we'll see what happens here then. Down through the final corner. Popovic still putting pressure on the Greasy Bandits leader. 1 and 3 for Greasy Bandits today. What a start to the season. They'll take, I'm sure, a 2-3 as well. Been a great start to their championship. And we said, can anybody take the fight to SimPlay? Well, with no Andrew Taylor here, this has been really good from Greasy Bandits to really try and capitalise on almost maximum points.
Wolski closed in yet another second, this time over 2 seconds. So if Popovic and Stardog either have a bad stop or have too much damage, Wolski could be back in this.
Let's see what happens here in this race then. Popovic, we know he's good up and down the mountain. He's just got to be closer on the overtaking opportunity parts of the circuit, down towards Sturrock, who's just got up the inside of Privet, coming into the chase. Sorry, if I kept calling Johnson Harris, apologies. It is Johnson in the Lexus. Harris is in it tomorrow night. You are correct, Paul Williams. Thank you. Gabino gaining on Brian Craig, and Gabino's done, in fact, Gabino's past Brian Craig, because Brian Craig is in the pits for his final stop of the race. Looks like the rain's going to stay away here at the moment, Wellington.
Yeah, kind of unfortunate. Would have loved to see just how much it could have shook up the race. But again, as we know in Pro, we're not going to have any of this because we're privileged. But yeah, would have loved to see a little bit of rain tonight.
Gareth Anderson in the chat. Good evening, gents. Late to the party, but here for the rest of the race. Good to see you, Gareth Anderson. Thank you as well. We now get another subscriber. That is 32 subscribers since yesterday. So that is a brilliant effort from all of you in the chat. Remember to hit the thumbs up button on this stream if you like. We see here Popovic, big wiggle in the chase. That has really put him off the back of Stardog now. So Stardog able to have some breathing space for the time being.
Popovic in, not at all surprised. Now, is Stardog going to respond by coming in at the end of this lap? If I was Stardog, I probably would. Just fuel up and maybe take tires so that way you know that you have all that you need in case you do want to start putting in qualifying laps for the next 26 minutes.
Mick Taylor there just brushed the wall as he went deep at the elbow. That's put Jamie Lee up another spot, but Jamie Lee has a pit stop to make. No real fights on circuit now. Gabino's done his 2 pit stops, so he's the net leader out of the guys to have completed all their mandatory stops. This is the other interesting thing as well, Wellington, is what if the drivers haven't realised they've got 2 stops to make?
Ooh, never thought about that. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Hopefully they look down at the standings and like where all the cars are, and then they'll realize, oh, I have to do 2 stops, not just the one like last season. But yeah, just a small rules change, but tonight we're gonna see who can adapt and just who pays attention to the standings in their screen. Because I know that some drivers don't have that on, like me personally, where I cover it up with a sticky note. And is that Tucker in the wall right in front of Stardog? I saw the yellow flag.
Yes, I think it was Tucker, the 23 Lamborghini. Yes, it was. He's got big damage to his car. So Tucker there with another incident. Shame for him because he was going so well at the start. But what a shame for him.
Yep, just gotta regroup and have at it for Valencia, where the Lambo isn't terrible around there. At least not as bad as the BMW. That was one of the worst practice sessions I've had ever.
Gabino. Oh, Gabino's 2/10 off the back of Popovic after Popovic's pit stop. So did Popovic maybe take a set of tyres here?
If I was him, I definitely would have. Maybe that's what he needs in order to get past Stardog. Just a fresh set. Give him just a little bit more confidence in some of the corners. But if they battle, then Stardog's gonna just begin to run away. And when he makes his second pit stop,
does this now, though, Wellington, put Wolski in a position to jump that of Popovic?
Well, Wolski's in. Let's see if he repairs the damage, which I don't think so. But coming around last lap, he was 19 seconds off of Stardog, which I think he closed in just a little bit.
So let's take a look here then. Here comes Popovic, waiting for Wolski to go green. I believe that was Mick Taylor just off in front of them.
Simcoe in as well.
Yeah, leader of bronze. So Coates who might take the net lead of this, not sure. Wolski has gone green, but Popovic will go through. So Popovic through. What about Gabino on Wolski? Sturrock there is a lap down. Where is Wolski coming out the pits? Nowhere to be seen at the moment. He's off the limiter now. So Wolski's a little bit behind. He's closer to Popovic though than what he was before Popovic pitted. So did Wolski take tyres? That could be a risky move if he hasn't.
Well, it doesn't matter if he took tires or not because he has a long train of 3 or 4 cars that are to be lapped by him for him to catch up to Popovic. So
nice.
Even if he didn't take tires,
one of them is there is 3 cars there, Wellington, but 2 are backmarkers. One is Gabino. He's got to clear Gabino first.
Ooh, and Gabino, he's not going to go down without a fight, so he might give Wolski a good run for his money. And for 4th place, well, might be for a podium after Cherry Moore makes his second stop. Stardog is still out, coming out of turn 1.
Oh, Gabino's hit the wall. He's just hit the wall coming through the dip, and not bad, just a scrape. But it's little moments like that that's going to put Wolski on him quicker here.
Yeah, maybe he's feeling the pressure and that Wolski is there, but Wolski's just now heading into Forest Elbow, but he's been able to manage that damaged car extremely well. So he only has to do it for another 21 minutes, and then maybe we'll see. But yeah, if Wolski could just keep hitting in the laps, we could see him battling with Gabino in the coming minutes.
Completely agree with you. As no rain, I don't think we're going to see today. The sun's just starting to peek out a little bit more as it ticks by to nearly 3:30 on the race day. Track time. Stardog still your leader from Cherry Moore from Popovic, but Popovic is first out of all the guys to complete their mandatory pit stops. So great to see at the moment. And we'll see if Popovic can close in on Stardog. He was at that little moment through the chase, which he then pitted on. But has this been able to help him? Gareth Anderson says that Stapley is his tip for the Bronze Championship. Well, he's currently 4th in the Bronze standings at the moment. Coates is into the pits, though. So I assume Simcoe will take the Bronze lead. Malarex might move up 2nd. We'll see where Stapley goes. But the bronze drivers having a good showing. 4 of them inside the top 10. Everybody Rob Smith, who's suffering with steering wheel issues at the moment. Jamie Lee is down in 25th. He's yet to do his second stop. And then we've just got the front two who's awaiting their stops as well. Simcoe is through. Malarex has passed him. Stapley has got past Coates. Brian Craig might also get past Coates here. Where's Alistair Cummins? Can he get out down the start straight and ahead of Coates before Coates gets off the limiter? Let's wait and see. Steve Millington down in 12th. Michael Johnson so far fastest lap of the race. Coates has come out the pits ahead then of that of Alistair Cummins. Your pole sitter Duffin down in 21st had that lap 1 drama with Wolski. It just goes to show the difference in the race. Wolski 5th, Duffin down in 21st.
Yeah, and really, that's just Bathurst for you. Bathurst takes a bite out of anybody. Feels almost like Le Mans, where you can't choose to win either of them, but the tracks choose their winners by putting you through the ringer.
Steve Millington here, gaining a little bit on Alistair Cummins. This is the closest fight on track at the moment, and even that's 1.6 seconds. 20 minutes to go in this race, though. Still a couple of drivers to do their second mandatory pit stop. The rain has stayed away from Mount Panorama for the time being. So at the moment, it is an interesting race to keep our eyes on. And Wellington, it's been a great opener to the season.
It really has been, especially with the 90-minute format. At least for this, it's been pretty entertaining. It'll be interesting to see how the pros handle it tomorrow. Again, I hope that some of them are watching this race to figure out their strategies, what works, what doesn't work. So far, it seems that they should really highlight the strategy of Popovich and Stardog.
Yeah, let's wait and see what happens in this race. And we'll see what comes of it. Still the 31 or 30 runners. We know Rob Smith suffering with that issue. Clawball's back into the pits. Jamie Lee still with a pit stop too. Mirko is back into the pits as well. So what has happened to Mirko? Ritchie there. And Wolski's all over the back of Gabino all of a sudden. So let's see what happens here. Could this be, Wellington, Wolski's... last season, me and Langley said they had a few quiet races where he snuck onto the podium. We didn't see much of him. He's been very busy and very active tonight. He's made a lot of overtakes, especially after tumbling down the order on that opening lap incident.
Yeah, definitely feel like Wolski's on kind of a revenge drive. Yeah, he had that incident on turn 2, or in turn 2, but now he just has gotten his head down, hitting the laps, and again, he's got a little bit of fury in his eyes, so he's definitely going to be looking to salvage as much as he possibly can, especially if he wants to go for that championship at the end of 10 weeks.
Indeed, Cherry Moore is in for his final stop of the race, and Cabino and Wolski have both got ahead of Cherry Moore. We'll keep our eyes on if Simcoe can get ahead. Vote up for driver of the day. If you do select the other option, please do comment in the chat who you have selected as your other driver. Well, they've even chucked Simcoe in. They're leading in bronze, currently in P6. So
Cherry Moore green. Simcoe gets him.
Oh, Wolski up the inside of Gabino here. Through turn 2, Gabino bails out of it. Wolski back up into third place now.
As long as Gabino can, again, just be patient. Oh. Where did Gabino go? I see.
Where has Gabino gone? I think we have lost Gabino from this race. We have lost 2 cars. We're down to 29. One might have been Richard Bettison, because I'm not seeing the Lexus of Bettison out there. And we have lost Gabino, so believe that is retirement for Bettison. And Gabino can get back in to try and score some points, but retirement for Bettison out the gate. And sadly for Gabino, it looks to be a disconnection at the moment. Hopefully it is, and he can get back in to try and salvage some points. But that puts Simcoe up into 4th. Go down to Alistair Cummins and Steve Millington then. 0.4 of a second separating the pit. And yep, Gabino back in, it looks like. Says he's fourth, but it'll drop him down the order. Obviously, he'll have that 2-minute wait time. What a shame for Gabino there then.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as long as he could wait for the Conrad, he might be able to fight back to Wolski.
Well, not anymore, sadly. He's tumbled down the order. And 15 minutes left on the clock here. Popovic, by the way, has just gone through turn 1. Stardog is through the dipper now. So Stardog is a whole sector ahead, but still has to pit, remember. So he's got a bit of traffic coming up in front of him. When does Stardog choose to make that second stop? Millington, by the way, has passed Alistair Cummins. So Millington through yet another place. And may get another one here due to the fact Gabino is in the pits after that disconnection.
Tucker went off at the chase and rejoining hit the wall. So he's going to be back in with some heavy damage. But I think as long as Stardog can get around the traffic as best as he can, he might be able to limit just how much Popovic closes in.
So let's see what's going to happen here to Keenan Stardog. We've got Cummins still trying to stay on to the back of Steve Millington, who's only 4 seconds off the back of Coates. Stapley on for podium here in bronze. He's just allowed Stardog to get through. I'm surprised Stardog hasn't chose to pit, knowing there's traffic coming at the moment. This traffic could really put Stardog in a real tricky position here, knowing that Popovic, there's a good gap between Popovic and the next real queue of traffic, isn't there? So at the minute, you feel like this could hold Stardog up more than it will Popovic.
Yeah, Popovic, if I had to guess, is putting in his qualifying type of laps in, but he's going to have the 32 and the 4 to pass. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how, again, Stardog plays this, and for all we know, he might only think that he has to do one stop.
That is Mick Taylor at the top of Skyline that Stardog has just had to take extra precaution as he was sideways across the track. So again, that'll just hold him a little bit. The 207 remaining still though, while there's a lot of traffic coming through at this moment in time. Can't seem to get a clear space on track so far. Franco in the chat. Great job from Popovic. Just needs to wrap it up. Wainwright, nice mate. I'm down for... just reading. So, evening, John. Robbed yourself of race win last night. Wainwright and Anderson are going to start some Bahrain practice already for next week. Look at them getting well prepared for next week. There's Cummins nearly into the back of B-Dog there, but Stardog... has he cleared?
Got a little bit of free track ahead. Well, let's see if he chooses to stay out for like 1, maybe 2 more laps, because he's got quite a big gap to Malarex.
I'm just hoping he hasn't forgot about the second stop. That's my biggest concern at the moment for him.
Yeah, that would be a terrible way to lose a race. But if I remember, if there's like 1 or 2 laps to go, the little engineer, he'll kind of remind you to do the stop if you haven't done it already.
Yeah. Let's see what happens here then in this race at the moment. Going to be interesting going forward who can do what. And it's not over yet. Purely because Stardog has to pit. Where is Popovic in terms of all that traffic? Coming up to a gaggle of cars now. Everybody else has done their last stops. Bar Jamie Lee as well. Jamie Lee is yet to pit. And Popovic will easily pass Mick Taylor there. Seems to me at the moment that Popovic and Stardog both aren't really being held by this traffic. They're seeming to be clearing it quite well.
Yeah, Popovic's last lap was a 2:03. Stardog's was a 2:07. And again, Stardog has been in that 2:04, 2:05 range, and Popovic has been hitting 2:03s, and his personal fastest of a 2:02.7. So he's definitely hunting. Stardog down.
Arctic Fox asking in the chat if he has to take fuel. Yes, he has to take a mandatory of 1 litre fuel. That is what it is set to. So if he doesn't take that 1 litre, then he will... no, it's not 30 seconds anymore, Franco. It is an open fuel strategy. So it's not the mandatory 25 seconds like it was last season, just due to the fact that it's a double mandatory pit stop. So 2 pit stops you have to make. Different for the normal races. That is the 25 seconds fixed. But yeah, 27 seconds roughly he'll lose through the pits. Popovic coming up to the top of the mountain. Blue flags wave for, I believe, Mirko Ricci just ahead of him. Mirko Ricci, by the way, down in 24th. What a nightmare race he's had tonight.
Yeah, he looked really, really solid middle to end of last season, and I thought he could potentially be up there for the championship this season, but with being down in 24th today, it's gonna be interesting for the rest of the season. But again, as long as he finishes, he could take this as his drop round and still be in contention for the championship.
Yeah, I thought that's what you meant, Franco, when I saw your second comment. Phil Atherton there, moving out the way. Yellow flag again, 207, top of the mountain. Or coming up the mountain, should I say. Big damage on his car. That is going to be a nightmare. Here comes Malarex nearly into the back of him there then. Malarex running second in class. Where is Stardog? He's coming up to the back of him as well. So this could be crucial for Keenan Stardog here. With that slow McLaren, this could now really hold him down through the dipper. He's the car ahead. And let's just go on board with Keenan here. Taylor off the track, letting Keenan Stardog go probably for the best. Sam Greaves gaining on Alistair Cummins. Michael Johnson gaining on the back of Sam Greaves. That Lexus wants a top 10. Sam Greaves would love a top 10. What a shame for Sam, because it was going so well in the first opening half an hour.
Yeah, and I guess I would say the pressure of leading probably got to him. Oh,
he's in the wall.
Off and into the wall again.
Into the wall again. That just delays Michael Johnson getting through, but Sam into the wall, and then he taps Doosan, who lapped him around the outside. Doosan in the wall. Doosan's now got to be careful. Oncoming traffic he's nearly just driven into. So Doosan has to wait for everybody coming through. Phil Atherton as well. Yellow flag for him. In fact, Doosan, I believe, has just left the server. So that could be a retirement for him. He will score points for it, though. But a retirement nonetheless. Phil Atherton here is not B-Dog, who's got some damage. Phil Atherton coming round as well. But back to Millington, who's on the rear of Brian Craig. Millington trying to get himself into 8th place at the end of this race. Still, Stardog has to pit. 7 minutes to go. It's getting close at the moment.
Yeah, again, as we both said, I really hope he didn't forget that there are 2 stops. But again, he should be looking just down on the standings where it'll say that you have 1 stop remaining. Well, everybody else is green. And Popovich, he's gonna keep reeling Stardog in.
He is indeed. And Popovich over a sector behind Stardog at the moment. That's why we're not seeing... Oh, apologies, caught the wrong button there. I don't want to report anybody. That's why we're not seeing the sector time come up, because Popovich is just over a sector behind Stardog. But Stardog still to pit. Back down to Johnson. He's got ahead of Alistair Cummins. And he's on the back of Brian Craig. So what has happened to Brian Craig? He's fallen behind Steve Millington. Johnson fancies a move here. Coming up the mountain. Can't do it. And Steve Millington only a second up the road from this battle. So Johnson might fancy himself looking at a P8. But it's all about when Stardog's going to pit. B-Dog back in the pits. Lee is... still got to make his pit stop as well. He might not lose a place, though, even if he doesn't pit, because Taylor's 2 laps down to him. Gary Clarbell's been out the pits tonight a lot. Mark Tucker's been in and out the pits a lot. Taylor in and out the pits quite a bit as well. So see what happens. This is Brian Craig, Michael Johnson and Alistair Cummins. Sam Greaves not a million miles away in the background. Coming down the Conrod straight here then. Is this Michael Johnson's opportunity? The Lexus has been mighty all night. Stardog goes for another lap into the final 6 minutes. Michael Johnson looking up the inside of Brian Craig. Job done before the little kink. And Johnson now, only a couple of seconds, 3.2 precisely off the back of Steve Millington. Johnson will fancy his chances here. Popovic just held through the elbow by one of the Ferraris. Remember the rules for the blue flags here on ACC. The drivers have to move out the way, but not down the mountain until they're out of the elbow. And Popovic now goes through and works his way towards that of Stardog even more. 2:07 again. That's Mick Taylor in the wars. He's back in the pit lane. So Mick Taylor back in for yet another stop. Jamie Lee and Stardog, the only two left to pit in this race. Sam Greaves now attacking the back of Alistair Cummins, and through he goes. So Sam Greaves makes it up another place. Good job from the Mercedes there. Where's Popovic? Traffic in front. Not massive, just a little bit. Stardog gaining again on a little bit. Stardog's got the best of the traffic though at the moment.
Yeah, Popovic is fighting through a lot of what Stardog did at the exit of his first stop. But now they both have a little bit of clean air, so I guess now is when we're going to see their real pace as Stardog is closing in on Malorex.
Yeah, the flag for Phil Atherton, who was stopped on the grass out of turn 1. So not sure what's happened to Phil there, but he's stationary. Gets back going now. 82. Who's the 82? They've just returned to the pit lane as well. That is B-Dog, who's returned to the pits. And Phil Atherton, has he got moving now? He is slowly rolling. But he's on the grass once again.
Stardog in.
Stardog in for his stop then. Right, it's really crunch time for him. The number 4 and 23 have had a coming together. That's Mark Tucker and that of Kruppeljan up the mountain. Kruppeljan will spin it back around and get going as Wolski comes through. Greaves trying to get past Brian Craig. Alistair Cummins still with them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where Stardog comes out in relation to Popovic.
Popovic has got damage. He's got the bonnet's lifted on the front end of Popovic's car. He's been in the wall somewhere. Has that thrown the race open to Stardog? Can Popovic hold on 12 seconds to Wolski?
Stardog is green and towards the exit.
Michael Johnson gaining on the back of Steve Millington.
This could mean a P2 for Wolski.
Well, Wolski's only 7 seconds behind now. Oh, Johnson and Millington make contact. They're both in the wall. They're both in the wall. Millington comes off worse there. And Steve Millington loses out to Sam Greaves and to Brian Craig. Might even lose out to Coates here as well. And the 53 slow again. DJ Phil, yellow flag once more. And Popovic is in the pits. It's going to be a Gracie Bandits 1-2 it looks like here. Simcoe might be on for a podium and a race win as the bronze driver.
Yeah, again, Bathurst bites, and it bites extremely, extremely hard. So, Popovic with that damage, which I would assume was forced elbow, because there's a little bit of a wall that sticks out on entry. Maybe he just tagged that, but now Wolski, all he has to do is maintain it for another 2 minutes. And if I had to guess, the next lap will be the final lap. So just one more lap for Wolski. Just nurse the car home after his lap 1 turn 2 incident.
Cherry Moore here on for a silver podium. Simcoe on for an outright podium after Popovic is in the pits. And Stardog then. We're going to get one more lap after this, as Stardog is going to come through to start it. Minute 20 left on the clock. And what a crazy race this is. But can Keenan Stardog hold on to this? He's got a lot of traffic in front of him at the moment. Yellow flag at turn 1 near the 91 car. Who's that? That was Sanchez, the 91. It was B-Dog who was slow. It's not sure if he had a moment, but Keenan Stardog, bit of traffic to deal with. Leader starts the final lap now. And the question, I suppose, is Popovich has lost out to Stapley and Johnson and now Greaves. Brian Craig, Coates has got past him. Millington, he's got a lot of damage. And he's worst of all, he's got to stop-go 30. He's sped in the pits. It's gone horribly wrong for Popovich at the very end.
Yeah, it looked like the package was kind of sealed and shipped, but fortunately it seems like UPS got to it and damaged that package.
Keenan Starlock here is in the thick of the traffic at the moment, coming up the mountain. Brian Craig trying to let him go, but nowhere really to do so. Brian Craig also going to get passed by Gabino here. Gabino obviously trying to unlap himself, but Brian Craig manages to let Stardog go. No real battles happening out there on track, but that must have been a heart-in-mouth moment for Keenan Stardog there.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get jumped by Popovich, but that damage, I guess, saved him.
Wainwright saying Simcoe has to be driver of the day now. Bronze on the outright podium. What a drive. Great race for Simcoe. P3 on track, P1 in class. Indeed it is. But, yeah, I agree. I think Popovich, what a mistake to make it. Was he just pushing too hard?
Yeah, that's the only thing that I could really think of, because when we saw him, it didn't seem like there was any car around that he was trying to pass or anything like that.
Well, Stardog's just let Gabino go there. And quite rightly so. He doesn't need to do anything. Although a flash of the lights for Gabino, so he might have been a little unhappy with how it come around. But Keenan Stardog is about to come to the checkered flag and is about to take the race win here in the first race of the season. Keenan Stardog, with a huge 128 points in the 90-minute race, comes round the final corner. The American stands on the top step of the podium at Mount Panorama. Stardog wins the first race of the season. And to top it off, Greasy Bandits look like they're going to take a 1-2 in great circumstances. Popovich finishes down in 11th with a 60-second time penalty. Will that save him, though, with Millington being a couple of laps down? We'll see. But Wolski here and the Greasy Bandits Racing will be celebrating tonight as Wolski comes out the final corner. Flash of the lights. P2 for Wolski. Great drive from him. But this man, Simcoe, 2 seasons ago, well off the pace, comes back, works hard. He's about to step on the outright podium. It's going to be a 3rd place for Simcoe. He takes P3. Great drive from him. Cherry Moore's going to come home for a solid P4. A 3rd place in class as well. For
Vanguard Race Team, the combo of Cherry Moore and Malorek. So really, really good start to the season. And if I had to guess, that might put him P2 in the team standings.
Probably will. It's going to also be a podium for Malorex, a 2nd place for him, and an outright and a podium in bronze for the young man. Stapley's going to look like he's going to hold on for the podium in the bronze category as well. So Stapley coming through for 6th place. Coates with a solid 10th as well. 4 bronze drivers in the podium. That is huge. Stapley here comes through for 6th place. He gets 3rd in the bronze category. Michael Johnson, he's been the man. He's made some overtakes of the day here, hasn't he? He's been absolutely tearing it up on the circuit. He's going to come across for 7th with the fastest lap of the race, showing he's got some pace in that Mercedes-Benz. He comes across for 7th. Sam Greaves is going to come across for P9. For P8, Brian Craig 9th. Coates 10th. Popovich 11th with that penalty. Just awaiting that of Phil Atherton, who is yet to finish the race. And is off at the chase at the moment. He's had a big off there. Not sure what's happened there, but he's gone straight on in the braking zone. So we'll come back. In fact, it won't even give Phil the time to finish there. So what a race out there for the opener of Bathurst. An absolutely crazy start to the race as well. Wellington, what a start. Give us your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, just, I guess Bathurst taking more of its victims, giving more of a kill count to what it already has. But yeah, just one of those tracks. At least Valencia, the walls are very, very far away, and there are many gravel traps due to it being a motorcycle circuit. But yeah, just Bathurst being Bathurst, the Monaco of GT3 racing. But yeah,
Some drivers not here tonight, the likes of Dronelander and Peckman as well, not here for this one. They're still to come. And look, as the server resets that you guys now can't see, there's rain. That's quite typical of this. Give us your silver and bronze driver of the day, though, please.
silver. I'm gonna say Wolski because we saw him at qualifying, and he sort of faded with that turn two incident, and then he brought himself back without repairing the damage. So I'll give him that. Then bronze. Wow, we saw Simcoe win. I might give it to Malarex. He was hidden just about the entire race, and then comes home for P2 in class and P5 overall. So really, really good start to his season as well as his teammate Cherry Moore's season.
Yeah, indeed. A great start for both of them in this one. I'm just inputting the points. I'm going to go the way of Stardog for driver of the day in silver. I don't normally pick the race winners, but round one of the season's a little different. They've earned it, and Stardog really did earn it there, let's be honest, in this one. And then I'm going to go for Simcoe for driver of the day in bronze. I'm going to give Simcoe my overall driver of the way. So yeah, fantastic moment for them. We are joined in the commentary box by our two of our podium guests, and we'll first start off with that of Wolski. Well, me and Langley said a lot last year, Wolski, that you was a man that went under the radar at times and always found yourself on the podium. Far from it tonight, involved in that turn two drama on the opening lap, and you fought your way through the grid brilliantly to get onto that podium.
Yeah, hi guys. Firstly, congrats to Kieran Stardog. I'm so happy for his win and my second place, of course. Yeah. My race started very in a bad way, let's say. But yeah, I just managed to keep my head down and just plow through the grid. It was just fun, I would say. I don't know how I ended up on P2. I think it was the others' problems, not just my pace. But yeah, I will take it. Yeah.
The rain was forecast to come tonight. It stayed away somehow over the course of the entire night. How much of that played a factor? Was you kind of waiting to see if the rain was going to come at the very end, or what was the strategy tonight when that rain didn't come?
My strategy was quite simple. Obviously, 2 pit stops, 30-minute stints, and just in case of rain, I would predict it will be just greasy or damp. So I would stay on the dries and try to not hit the wall.
We go to Valencia next week. Obviously, the reverse grid and the 2-race format will be back for next week, down to the 1 mandatory pit stop. What can you do at Valencia? BMW doesn't seem that strong a car around the Spanish circuit, so what can you do there?
I like Valencia track, so I'm looking forward. Yeah, I like it. I'm feeling comfortable there, so I hope for a good points there as well.
Well, we'll let you go. Enjoy that P2 and congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
And we get to talk to Keenan Stardog. I don't believe we've had the privilege of talking to on the podium. If we have, it's been a while. Keenan, congratulations. That was a tricky, difficult race out there.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. It's nice finally talking to y'all. It was, I got lucky with that first, I guess that turn 2 incident took out the top 3 and just kind of was able to skate through and just, really took advantage of that, just kept it clean, focused on just staying out of the walls, really.
difficult. I say difficult race. Difficult start to race. You had to avoid the incident with your teammate and Duffin involved in that one. It was then about trying to chase down Sam Greaves, in which you managed to get onto the back of him. Not sure what happened to him. We didn't see it on camera. He ended up with big damage. That allowed you to lead the race, but then Popovic kept putting you under some immense pressure throughout the middle stages of that race.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I feel like he had the pace on me, to be honest, but I was just, it's pretty difficult to pass. I mean, it's, through here, and, there was a couple sections, like I might pick up a little bit on him coming out of sector 3, and then he was back, especially down the mountain on me. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was sweating.
So I can imagine it must have been a relief to know that he'd made a mistake at one point. Valencia next week, though, obviously back to that reverse grid format with the second hour-long race. One pit stop only for next week. What's the thoughts going into Valencia? Obviously, only 4 of the reverse grid races this year, more of the 90 minutes. So what's the thought going into that reverse grid, knowing that you'll be starting at the back of the silver pack?
Yeah, no, really just trying to keep it clean. I had a few incidents last year, and I'd like to just, see the first few laps clean this year as much as possible. So just really focusing on clean starts, and then see what we can do from there.
Well, congratulations tonight, buddy. Enjoy that one, and we'll see you next time.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And if you have enjoyed what you've seen here at SimPlay Motorsport, make sure you join us for tomorrow night. The Pro Series with the Platinum and the Gold drivers take to Mount Panorama for their 90-minute race. The Pro-Ams and me, and hopefully Wellington will be back in the commentary box for next Wednesday for the 2 races of Valencia, reverse grid 15-minute sprint, followed by the 60-minute feature. And of course, I'll be back on Tuesday night once again for the LMU series, the LMP2 ELMS, and the LMGT3s around their first and only night race of the season at Bahrain. But it's early morning for next week at Valencia, 5 o'clock track time. For them, so the conditions may be a little bit cooler. We'll see what the weather's doing as well. But for the pros tomorrow night, join me live with potentially Tan and Ebo once again for that one. From me and all the guys here at SimPlay Motorsport, take care. Good night.